Okay. All right, let's get this bollocks over with, shall we? Blah blah blah. You know the deal. Microphone, is it working? Someone let me know while I try and find my voice, because for some reason I'm struggling to bloody talk now. I'll be all right once I've stuffed my face with a few cookies. I've got some here. What's happening? Yeah, it's dark. Got the light on my phone. That's the only light you're getting. Have a couple of cookies and tea while we wait for this. Yeah, I'm going back to being a fat boy. I don't care. Because why not, eh? Mm-hmm. Oh man, those are good. Those are beautiful. Mm. Yeah, oatmeal and raisin cookies. I recommend them. So I've got 3 of them sitting here, like big thick cookies. Beautiful, really beautiful, man. All right, let's get started, shall we? Good to see you, Rebel. Yeah, good to see you, man. God bless you. It's working awesome. Awesome. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear, as always. Do you know, let's see how smart my audience is. Do you think I watched it? Do you think I even watched the highlights of it? Let's see see how smart my audience is, you know? Or am I just clickbaiting? We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, won't we? But how's it going, Mario? God bless you, man. As always, God bless you too. Um, Jake Paul called out Beterbiev. Beterbiev would put Jake Paul in the coffin. I don't know about that because, I mean, he just beat the baddest man on the planet, Mike Tyson. I mean, could you beat Mike Tyson? Could you? And, before we start making any excuses about Mike Tyson's age, I mean, Mike Tyson had a six pack and big muscles, so he can't have been that old, you know? I think he'd have beaten a prime Mike Tyson. Because, I mean, a prime Mike Tyson lost to Kevin McBride, so why couldn't Jake Paul beat him? You know? Why couldn't he? Yeah, I agree, right? And let's be honest. Shout out to Reverse, by the way. Let's be honest. Like greatness in a sport like boxing, or in any sport, but particularly boxing, it's determined by popularity. Always has been, right? Popularity and pay-per-view numbers and how many tickets you sell. That's how you determine greatness. You know that's what it's all about. So if that's what it's all about, and evidently it is, Jake Paul is the greatest fighter of all time. I mean, the guy was able to come out of like obscurity to become like the biggest draw in boxing without even really fighting anybody who wasn't like a senior citizen or like a retired basketball player. So, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I take great inspiration from Jake Paul. And I would love it if one day that legend of a man would like throw me a bone and I don't know, share the ring with me. I'd love it. I'd be honored. Make a bit of money off it too. What do you think of the Tim Zoo fight? Yeah, he's on his way out. He got completely destroyed. Probably the most poorly managed fighter in recent years in terms of who he's fought and how his team have maneuvered him. I mean, just a bunch of noobs, a bunch of amateurs that have no idea how to develop a fighter or how to work within his best interests. But I'm sure they got paid off the back of him for a while. Yeah, Jake Paul would beat him in his prime too. Prime Mike Tyson couldn't even beat Kevin McBride, a big fat Irishman. So yeah, put some respect on Jake Paul's name, innit? Yeah, of course. Yeah, people got to stop hating. Listen, y'all are only hating because he's making money. That's all it is. He's making money, he's getting paid, and he's kicking ass, and he's taking names. You're just mad you didn't think of it first. I'm mad I didn't think of it first. I wish I was making that kind of money and being able to fight a 60-year-old Mike Tyson. I would take the fight if it was offered to me. I've decided to sleep instead of watching it. I watched the highlights. I wish I unwatched it. I didn't even do that. I was playing video games and that. I didn't even bother watching it. Mm. Canelo and Usyk, oh look him, the problem child. Yeah, he's a problem. He's a problem for them. But that's the thing. He could afford those guys. He makes that much money, and he's achieved that much greatness that he could get one of those guys in the ring anytime he wanted. Because that's how greatness. Like I said earlier, that's how greatness is determined in boxing. It's determined by how much money you make and how many tickets you sell and that. And Jake Paul's the biggest draw in boxing, or at least one of them. And he did so without even really doing much. So that's greatness. That's real greatness. Jake Paul would beat Foreman, Holyfield, Klitschko brothers, Tyson, Fury, and Usyk. Oh, they could potentially. Do you think I watched it though? Yeah, how's it going, man? Jake's an icon. Yeah, he is. He is. No doubt about it. He unironically is an icon of the sport. And anybody who complains about it, well, if you've ever bought one of his fights or contributed to the hype surrounding it, then if you're one of these people who made a video saying Mike Tyson's going to knock him out because he's Mike Tyson. It doesn't matter if he's old; he's still Mike Tyson. If you're one of those people, don't be complaining about Jake Paul ruining the sport and all that shit. Don't be a hypocrite. I'm also eating M&Ms. It's a family-sized bag of peanut M&Ms. I told you guys I'm getting fat again. I don't even care. I've also got Haribo's and a couple of 2-liter bottles of Iron Brew. I'm pegging out tonight. I don't care. Jake's a massive troll. He's a pretty good one, I'll tell you that. What you having for dinner? I had it was like mac and cheese with fish pie. I had it earlier. Yeah, I watched a movie and I had dinner. Yeah, it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. Now I'm just eating pudding, and that's what I'm eating now. He's literally the face of the sport. People sitting on their couch fat and hating because their wife left and their kids are dumb. Show some respect to the champ. Exactly. If he was really this bum people say he is, well, they'd be making more money than him, wouldn't they? They wouldn't be sitting eating peanut M&Ms and oatmeal and raisin cookies and drinking Iron Brew, would they? No, they'd be living it up like he is. How many bottles could you clear? Like, you mean Iron Brew? Quite a few. I used to drink about 4 liters a day, and that's being conservative. Sometimes more, considerably more. There is worse than Jake Paul. The people hating pros watch the fight. Yeah, exactly. Look, I can say all this stuff. I'm not a hypocrite. I can come on here and I can say all this because, again, let's see how smart my audience is. Do you think I watched the fight? Does anybody watching this right now? Do you think I've ever in my entire life watched a full Jake Paul fight ever? Think about it. Have I ever stayed up late and tuned in at 5 a.m. to watch Jake Paul ever? I mean, when you consider that, I think I've earned the right to say the things I say here without feeling like a hypocrite. Yep, 12 and tried. 12 have tried, 11 have failed, and that one that was able to succeed was from good stock. You know, he was part of the Fury clan, so he had good genetics. You know, he had good genetics. They acting like Jake Paul is taking money when bums like Tank never fight. Yeah, exactly. I think the likes of Tank and the whole like American boxing establishment have done more to harm boxing than someone like Jake Paul. You know, Jake Paul is just capitalizing on how dumb all the normies are. You know, he's capitalizing on their dumbness. You guys like my cup? So Spyro the Dragon cup. I like it. Nice little cup of tea. I'm starting to feel a bit sick already. I've eaten too much. I can't eat like I used to. Like I used to be able to eat junk food like all day and it wouldn't bother me. But now I eat a little bit and I don't know, I feel a little bit bagged up already. I've still got a lot of M&Ms left. I'll eat them though. It's all good. I miss the Klitschko era. Idiots are talking about fake bull, yeah. Oh yeah, the Klitschko era. It only now is it starting to get the respect it deserves, you know? Only now. Because the normies, as is often the case, they've caught on 10 years after people like myself, you know, highly intelligent people like myself were saying this stuff over a decade ago. But the normies were still talking about how the Klitschkos were big stiff boards and boxing was dead and this, that, and the other. You know, now they've kind of caught on to what was really going on, you know, all these years later. But what else is new? We're always 10 years or so ahead of normies, you know. That was some humiliation ritual. Mike throwing bare ass to millions, selling his record to a degenerate. Yeah. Well, either Tyson was like broke and desperately needed the money, or like you say, it was a literal humiliation ritual. I mean, it's one or the other, isn't it? Yeah, Jake carried Tyson. He let him live it. If he wanted to, he could have put that old man in a coma, you know, because Jake's the baddest man on the planet, obviously. You know, that's what happens when Mike Tyson goes to a tunnel convention full of Freya. Don't even get me started. People really thought 58-year-old Tyson was going to win. Yeah, I know. But, mate, I mentioned this earlier. The amount of people who made videos saying Tyson's going to knock him out, it doesn't matter if he's old. He's still Mike Tyson. And I'm like, those same people are now complaining. They're bitching and moaning now and saying this was bad for the sport when they made videos hyping it up, convincing people to bet on Mike Tyson and telling people Tyson was going to knock him out. Now these people are complaining, saying it was a sad state of affairs, and it's like, you know, it's that it's bad for the sport. Like such hypocrites, man. But I'm anything but a hypocrite. You know, I'm gonna remain consistent. You know, Tank said he would beat up Jake Paul. No, he probably wouldn't. Too big. Jake Paul's too big for Tank. It'd knock him out. Way too big. Everybody complaining about Jake Paul. Watch the fight start to finish. Just shows he might be one of the most famous fighters. Not even joking. Well, look, the people complaining about it probably bought the pay-per-view, and they probably sat up till 5 o'clock in the morning watching it, and watching videos about how Tyson's the baddest man on the planet and he's going to knock him out. Like, age is just a number. He's still got the speed and power, and Jake Paul's not a real fighter. Like, they probably hyped it up, you know, and engaged in the sort of discourse surrounding the fight. So they got no sympathy from me, you know. I don't even give a crap about Mike Tyson. I always thought Tyson was overrated anyway, if truth be told. Nowhere near the best heavyweight ever. It was sad to see Tyson with no legs or ability to cut the distance, yeah. Well, I mean, he's 58 years old, so I don't know why anybody expected anything different, you know. Dubois, he's tiny. Jake would sleep in, yeah, he would sleep Tank. Tank's like, what, 5'4" or something? No chance. That guy's a midget. He'd get destroyed. Mike had just enough to survive. I don't know. Jake probably let him survive. Probably just carried his ass, you know. Sonny Liston took a long time for him to get respect. Foreman looked up to him. Yeah, Sonny Liston was a dangerous man. in his day. He was a big puncher, tough guy, great jab, good skills. Yeah, God bless you, Sven Otke. Good to see you, man. Yeah. Humiliation ritual for Tyson. It has to be, because you can't be telling me that Mike Tyson still needs money. Can't be telling me that. It's Mike Tyson. That guy's sleeping on money. I don't care about all the legal drama. But you think Mike Tyson's been in movies, he gives interviews all the time, he's got his podcasts. You think that guy's not making money? That guy's sleeping on money. And that's in addition to being one of the biggest draws in boxing during his own era. Jake Paul's on all sorts of steroids and still garbage, yeah. Well, I mean, look, all top level athletes take steroids, because you can't be a top level athlete and train at that level if you don't take steroids. But Jake Paul, I suspect the steroids are, in his case, they are a substitute for like proper training, because I don't think that guy does a whole lot of training, at least not like the training he'd need to be to compete at a high level. Because I don't really think Jake Paul's a very good athlete, truth be told. I don't think so. Can fight a bit, but he's not a very good athlete. Boxing fans literally don't know anything about physical athletics, age, or combat wear and tear. Yeah, they don't. They don't know nothing. Some of these people genuinely thought a 58-year-old, 5'10" Mike Tyson, who was on steroids for decades, was going to come back after what, like 15 years out, like 20 odd years out of the ring, and was going to knock out a guy who's bigger than him, who's been active, who's kept himself in shape and whatnot. Like no chance. It's not possible. There's a reason why you don't see 58-year-old boxers. There's a reason why boxers in their 50s generally don't get licensed to fight. There's a reason for that. Duarte versus whoever that is on right now. I don't know who they are. Sorry. I was bigger than Tank when I was 8 years old. I wasn't all. I was heavier than him when I was, well, probably anyway. I think at least when I was like 10, 11 years old, I was heavier than him. No doubt about it. Mike Tyson's still going to fight on, apparently. Yeah, he'll fight like crappy exhibitions, probably. Maybe him and Holyfield can get a third fight. I've been talking about that for years, Joked about it in that movie Grudge Match. They were both on it. Yeah, Tyson was hyped by his fans, but Tyson's fans are idiot casuals. Let's be honest. Like most of Mike Tyson's fans don't know the first thing about boxing. Like because again, that's how Mike Tyson was marketed. He was marketed to the non-boxing fan, people who really don't have a clue what they're looking at, and that's why people think he was the greatest heavyweight ever when he wasn't even close. He wasn't even close to the greatest heavyweight ever. It was a product of his time. He was manufactured, like largely manufactured during his era. Imagine a guy with 5 KO loses to a guy to a fight at 58. Yeah, 5 KO losses, and not even to like that good fighters either. Tyson was knocked out by a couple of journeymen in his career, and that's then when he was younger and in shape. I agree. Wilson would have knocked out Ali, prime for prime. I better drink this because it's getting cold quickly. Some people really don't like it, when I slurp tea into a microphone. I remember I did it in one of my videos, and some guy complained about it in the comments, and then I was like, I'll slurp louder next time. And he started, he went off on one. I think he called me a fat ass or something. I can't remember. He said something, and started like moaning. So I blocked him. Don't know why I brought that up there. I just did. I don't know, just a tool for them. But I heard his ancestors were. Yeah, that's going to be the 90% of this stream again, isn't it? People talking about small hats. I don't know. Plus, he owns a big weed company, Tyson. Yeah, exactly. Tyson, there's no way Tyson needs money. So again, I suspect that it's a humiliation ritual that he agreed with. Like even the slap at the weigh-in seemed staged to me. Like he seemed like he pulled it. You know. And again, that's assault. So if it was real, he'd have gone to jail, right, for assault. Especially since Mike Tyson has previous. He's a convicted felon. So slap a guy at a weigh-in, that's assault. Why wasn't Tyson in police custody? Why wasn't he? If I did that at a weigh-in, I'd go to jail. So clearly it was all manufactured and staged, like the whole thing with the weigh-in. And a lot of dumbasses bought it because normie's gonna normie. They don't have elite level intellectual ability that I do. I'm an intellectual genius. I'm like that's been proven at this point. So I can brag about it because again, it's been proven time and time again that I'm like decades ahead of normies in terms of my intellect, you know. You reckon Mike is getting some trousers with that money or swimming in a bath full of money? He could swim in a swimming pool full of money, like what you call it, Scrooge McDuck. No, it'll be like Smaug in The Hobbit, the big dragon where he sleeps in the big like mountain of gold. That'll be Mike Tyson after the fight. Or he'll just add some more gold onto the pile that's already there. Jake Paul's jaw has grown 3 times the size it was 5 years ago. Yeah, probably growth hormones. That's probably what he's on because he looks a lot bigger, doesn't he? In general, he's like clearly roided up. Jake is better than his brother, but that isn't saying much. Yeah, probably. I've never watched either of them fight though, so I've no idea. But yeah, I would assume based on what I've heard that that's the case. You reckon Mike wanted to bite Jake's ears off? Um, Maybe he thought about it a little bit, but he was able to rail himself in because he knew the script. People should boycott Jake Paul until he starts fighting ranked fighters. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. You want to see Jake Paul fight ranked fighters. Do you think those ranked fighters are going to come to win? Be careful what you wish for. Careful what you wish for. Would you rather drink 2 liters of diet iron brew or listen to Ben Shapiro lecture you about Israel for 3 hours? Um, I'll take the 2 liters of diet iron brew, but then I'll like shove my fingers down my throat afterwards. I think that'll be better. To be fair, he got a guy coming. He got far for a guy coming from YouTube. Yeah, he did. He did get far. You know, further than pretty much anybody else. From that same sort of setup. By the way, thousands and thousands of people put money on Tyson to win. Of course they did. Of course they did. So many people put money on him to win by KO. No wonder these bookies are exactly, mate. These bookies have got normies by the balls, and as long as there are normies, there will be bookies. Right? Bookies exist. Like, what do you think the lottery is? It's a tax on normies. Right? It's thousands and thousands of stupid, ignorant little normies who think that they can become multimillionaires by buying a lottery ticket every week. you think they're just going to let anybody become a multimillionaire? You think that just some random guy from the street, some random junkie, is going to buy a lottery ticket and end up with 80 million in the bank? You think that the government and the elite would allow that to happen? No, you don't end up with 80 million in the bank overnight unless that can be controlled, especially untaxed money. I mean, come on, man. But again, that's what the lottery is. That's what the gambling industry is. It's a way of fleecing normies. It's just like tax. You pay your council tax, your national insurance, all that other stuff. And if you're an extra dumb, ignorant normie, you're going to pay like the other shit, like the TV license and like your lottery money. It's just a fool. A normie and his money are easily parted. Netflix making Tyson show his bare ass. They would never do it with a female fighter. It probably look like man ass anyway. No comment. I'm actually looking forward to Usyk Fury in December. Yeah, me too. I'm going back down to Nottingham and going to a mate's house. We're having like a little fight party to see that. So that'll be good. So yeah, probably won't be streaming that night for obvious reasons. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. And I can't pick a winner. Closer that fight gets, I'm actually thinking Tyson might do it. I know I said this before the first fight. I got a feeling Fury might win that rematch. I'm rooting for Usyk though, as I was the first time, you know. But just a gut feeling. It's a gut feeling. My mind's starting to change on it, you know. Starting to remember why I picked Fury the first time. And I don't know, man. But I'm rooting for Usyk. Jake Paul made a video of him kissing Mike Tyson. What, he made a video of it? Well, when did he kiss him? Was that after the fight or something? Tyson looked a shot fighter with poor stamina when he fought Kevin McBride. That was 19 years ago. Yeah, he just collapsed. And it looked to me like Kevin McBride didn't even think he could win that fight. He was just there to be an opponent. But Tyson was that shot and that like drained that he basically just capitulated. And Kevin McBride basically grew in confidence as that fight went on, you know. That was kind of a sad fight to watch, the Tyson Kevin McBride fight, you know. Jake Paul should fight Tyson Fury or Wilder. Yeah, why not? Andrew Tate did a Ferrari giveaway, and the winner was someone working for OG. Yeah. I bet you there's a lot of normies who applied for that, thinking it could be me. It's totally random. I've got just as much chance as anybody. Yeah, because Andrew Tate was just going to give some normie a Ferrari who he's never heard of. He has no idea who they are. Pulled a name out of a hat. Oh, yeah, you get a Ferrari. Yeah, because that's how the world works, isn't it? You buy a lottery ticket for like a fiver and you end up with 80 million in the bank the next day. Just based on random. It's like a 1 in a million chance. Like, that's how the world works, isn't it? That's how the government works. The lottery, which is literally government funded. That's how it works, right? Normies, man. Absolute normies. Salute Nordic. Yeah, how's it going, man? Tuned into you while at the gym, and I had co-workers literally saying Mike Tyson's going to knock out Jake Paul because he's Mike. That's exactly what I said earlier. Yeah, it doesn't matter if he's old. He's Mike Tyson. He's still Mike Tyson. Let's bet the house on him to win by knockout, and let's make the bookies a lot of money. Idiot normies, you know. But I'm tired of trying to educate people. You know, the internet is supposed to be about spreading information, right? I've tried to spread my genius, my intellect, and the information that I have access to onto this platform, and all I've gotten in return is disrespect. Is you're a racist, you're a conspiracy theorist, blah blah blah. So I ain't doing it anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm gonna let the normies fleece themselves, and I'm gonna let them make an arse of themselves every minute of every day because they deserve it. You know, that's what it is. It was an AI animation Jake made of kissing Tyson. I don't know. Maybe it was a recreation of a real thing, you know? Have you seen Wilder's latest excuse? He's claiming he has a broken arm in the Parker and Zhang fights, but didn't. How can you have a broken arm and not notice? Well, like, he's walking into the ring, he's like that. Something's wrong with me. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I'm just going to ignore it and deal with this. And then, like, what? A year later, he's oh yeah, I had a broken arm. That was it. Yeah, that's how broken arms work, you know. The guy that won the car on Tate's giveaway has a license ban apparently. Yeah, so what's he gonna do with it? Just keep it in his garage or sell it or something? I don't know. Nordic is Lex Luthor if he didn't have money. Yeah, I'm like a broke version of Lex Luthor. That's me. All I need to do is shave my head, and I'll be the broke version of Lex Luthor. That's quite funny, man. But like, could you imagine if I did have money? Like, I would form some sort of army of like anarchists or something and take over the country. Like, that's what, like, if I had like 80 million, I'd start some sort of uprising, and I would just cause all sorts of chaos, and the government would have to do me in or something. I literally would be like a supervillain. I would be like Lex Luthor, you know. Bellew was at the Jake Paul press conference. He obviously wants to be back in the limelight again. Yeah, the man that will disappear and you'll never see him again. Except you see him more now than you ever did. I saw him in what do you call it? In Manchester. I went to that Jack Catterall fight in Manchester, the Catterall Prograis fight. And yeah, I saw Tony Bellew there. I also saw Ricky Hatton outside. Um yeah, my mate knows Ricky Hatton, so I was like trying to get him to go up and like get him to talk to us, but he was kind of shy, so he didn't bother. But yeah, it was quite funny. It was like outside the stadium because you know the fight was right next to the Man City stadium. He was like right outside it, talking to a bunch of fans and that. I thought about pulling my phone out and taking a video or trolling him or something, but like, problem is I could barely walk. I was like, because I've injured my foot, and I was like limping around at the fight and everything. I was in a lot of pain, and yeah, that's why I didn't take any videos or nothing. I just couldn't be bothered. I was in a lot of pain, man. But yeah, I saw Tony Bellew there. I saw what's his name, Josh Taylor. I saw all sorts of fighters there. It's quite busy, and we saw Campbell Hatton get his arse kicked. It was quite funny. Wilder's the king of excuses. Wilder's excuses are definitely the funniest. You know, the funniest one is my costume was too heavy. That was like he's walking into the costume, like he's all worn out. He doesn't think, now I should take this off before I get to the ring. I can't handle it, you know. Where was I? Hold on. Don't worry, some people think I'm unaware because I'm black. I don't fall into the divide and conquer agenda. Yeah, not everybody does. There's a lot of blacks out there who ain't playing the game and are not buying the propaganda. Same as us, you know. You know, there's people of all races who see through the deception and won't allow us to be like divided and conquered. That's a good thing. Absolutely. It's frustrating being around normies who still watch BBC News. Yeah, they still watch BBC News and think they're seeing like anything other than just state funded propaganda. You know, they're not actually seeing anything worth seeing. Bellew's a legend in his own mind. Yeah, he is. Again, the disappearing man. You won't see me again, Cougs. I'm the disappearing man. I just want to go home to my wife and kids and be left alone. I won't be given any more interviews. You know, just going to be a regular guy. I finished with the limelight. I'm done. And ever since then, you've seen him more than you saw him while he was still active. You know. Yeah, how's it going, Shane? God bless you. The reality is, Bellew had 5 world title fights and lost 3 of them. And one of his world title wins was BJ Flores. Yeah. How did BJ Flores even get ranked for a title shot? I mean, who did he ever beat? He was literally a journeyman in his career. I can't even think of anybody he actually beat. Oh yeah, MSNBC. Aren't they shutting down? I heard they were shutting down or something because they lost like all their viewers, or most of them anyway, in the aftermath of the elections, you know. Missing Triple B. Oh yeah, Triple B's not been making vids, has he? Yeah, he disappeared. So hopefully he comes back eventually. I like Triple B. I miss his videos. Yeah, they're a lot of fun to watch. And a lot more thought-provoking than most channels, you know. BJ Flores was actually outboxing Bellew. He was winning that fight, yeah. Well, Bellew punched him in the nuts and the ref did nothing about it, yeah. Yeah, Bellew was not a championship level guy. He just happened to have a belt. And he was very fortunate to get that belt too. Very fortunate indeed. I'm gonna have to take a break. I feel kind of sick. I can't even finish them. Can't even finish those M&Ms. Too many of them. But yeah, he was outboxing him. Yeah, I hope Triple B comes back soon. God bless him. He's probably just taking a break. because it can be mentally exhausting. Like, I'm mentally exhausted myself. That's why I've not been making videos. Like, I have a whole bunch of videos in production. I just can't find the motivation to get through with them because I've just got too much shit going on. Like, for about a week there, I couldn't even walk. I tore my Achilles tendon and I was in shit ton of pain. I had to take days off work. I couldn't get paid for the days off because I've not been there long enough to get sick pay. A lot of other shit happened. It's just been stressful. I've been stressing out over shit. So YouTube's been the last thing on my mind lately, you know. So I've not really been able to get my finger out and make any content. It is what it is. But I can still do this to keep the audience posted, you know. Um, where was I? I'm losing my place in the bloody comments. I think Lee Talks Boxing retired from YouTube when his favorite fighter Warrington retired. Yeah, yeah. I've not seen Lee Talks Boxing in a while. You know, I don't know what he's up to, but I like him too. Lefties are coping, saying American are uneducated and can't read, so they don't believe in anything and hate everyone. Well, yeah, because they're all for the little guy, aren't they? They're all for the working class and the disenfranchised and the underprivileged. But then when they don't get they don't get their own way, they don't get what they want. Then it's those are the unwashed common folk, and we're superior to them, and all that other stuff. You know, that's when they show their true colors, and they show their like their true allegiances. You know, I understand why at the start it was good. Now it's just boring drama. Slow down, Naughty. The food isn't going anywhere. Yeah, I'm like a dog, innit? You know, when you give dogs food and they've got to eat it as quick as possible in case another animal comes along and takes it. That's what I'm like with my peanut M&Ms and my cookies. I'm like, if I don't eat them now, like some fat ass will come and take them and eat them in my stead, you know? Silly me. Did the free healthcare take care? Oh, no, absolutely not. It took me several days to get a doctor's appointment. And see, when I did manage to get a doctor's appointment, you know what they did? Basically told me to take some ibuprofen and kicked me out within like 2 minutes. So I was in the doctor's for just a few minutes after several days of trying to get an appointment, and they did nothing. Told me to take some ibuprofen, and I'm like, well, I'm working for like, and told me to rest it, but I'm like, but I work full time. I'm on my feet all day, and I'm in constant pain, but I can't walk. But no, but I have to. But my job has me on my feet all day. What on earth am I supposed to do? So yeah, we have no healthcare. So I had to sacrifice about over a week's wages by not being able to walk and therefore not being able to work. And I've had other stuff to deal with as well. And I tell you one thing, the NHS has done us no good. So I'm paying my taxes to the NHS, right? And I'm paying a lot of tax too. I can't even get a bloody doctor's appointment and be in there for more than 2 minutes before I get kicked out, essentially. That's the free healthcare of this country that we're paying out the nose for, you know? Leftists truly are narcissistic people. Yeah, yeah, they're narcissistic, degenerate reprobates, as far as I'm concerned, and I got no sympathy for them anymore. Sad to say. Free healthcare has a year waiting list, yeah. Yeah, unless you're like, I don't know, an illegal immigrant or something, you know, who's got a cold. But if you're a working class white Briton and you can't walk and you're in pain, then they'll maybe give you an appointment in a year's time and tell you to take some over the counter painkillers or something and just deal with it, you know. Won't even write you a note or nothing. The NHS is being destroyed on purpose. It's not fit for purpose. I hope they shut it down entirely. Why am I paying tax to the NHS when I can't even get a proper doctor's appointment? When I have to take like a week off work or more, and I can't even. It takes me several days to even get in to see a GP. Like, what am I paying for exactly? You know, my normally family didn't think it was weird that a giant grey cloud was covering the entire country for 2 weeks and it didn't rain once. Yeah. Yeah, it's totally not geoengineering. Totally not that, is it? You know? Yeah, what's happening? We fund immigrants to stay while they do nothing to help the country. Yeah, and again, there's nothing we can do. That the tax dollars come straight off our money. I mean, they come straight off of our wages. We can't choose what services we want to pay for and stuff like that. You know, if you live in this country and you have a job, you're automatically paying council tax, national insurance, and whatever else the government just feels like taking off you. You know, they disrespected Mike Tyson so badly. Well, I would say he disrespected himself, if truth be told. I mean, because he didn't have to agree to it, did he? To the humiliation ritual, which it essentially was, you know? Tax dollars well spent. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Tax dollars well spent on nothing. You get nothing. It's like we pay council tax in this country, and then the council goes on strike and doesn't do their job. Like, see my last job. I talked about this before. They had me doing the council's job for them because they were too scared to do it. Because they were striking and they were refusing, saying they don't get paid enough. So me, who was working minimum wage, doing a different job, was doing their job for them because they wouldn't do it, you know, and getting no thanks in return, and then getting basically sacked a few months later, you know. That's the thanks you get in this country for working for nothing, essentially, you know, and for going above your pay grade, basically. The best thing is to get rid of long-term illnesses fast. Yeah, I still do fasting. At least a couple of times a week, I do intermittent fasting, and it seems to help me a lot, you know? Like, you wouldn't think it watching this stream, but I actually do. And I'm back at the gym on Monday. That's a promise to myself. I'm definitely going back. Because I've got to, like, rehabilitate my foot, and I've got to do it, like, with active rest, basically. Just sitting about all day seems to make it worse, you know? Like, I can actually I was at work this week, so it's all right, but the pain comes and goes, you know? Doctors are shit as well. They may even be happy when stuff becomes private. Yeah, yeah, they might. I would rather it was private, because then you would have to pay if and when you need medical assistance, whereas now I'm paying whether I need it or not, and then when I do need it, I don't get it, so what am I paying for, you know? The council uses our money to paint zebra crosses into rainbow colour. Exactly. You know, they use our money to desecrate our sacred monuments with filthy LGBT flags, you know, instead of actually fixing the roads and, you know, providing better council services and all that, you know. Why do you think there's rats everywhere in this country? Because the council won't take out the bins because they're scared of the rats that wouldn't be there if they did their job. Yeah, I know. It's shocking, man. It really is. But yeah, let's make this a more positive stream. Let's not bitch and moan about politics. Let's not talk about money and shit. Let's talk about like more um like white pilling stuff, you know. I refuse to even take paracetamol anymore. Yeah, I only take it if I absolutely need it, like if it's absolutely necessary, you know. Otherwise, I don't even like. Usually, I've got like more a higher pain tolerance than the average person, you know, because I'm that hard. Like, but like, but yeah, I don't like taking painkillers either, especially when you don't want to get like you don't want to get addicted to them, and you don't want to get too used to them to where you're literally relying on them, and you can't even like just get through the day. You know, you don't want that to be the case, whoever you are. You know, a bit of water. Yeah, yeah, you can let your body deal with it naturally. That's definitely a lot better. Cowpox. I remember that. I used to get that when I was a kid. If I had an illness, cowpox. I remember that. Yeah, I always remember it being like pure thick, like syrup. That's what it was like, but very, very sweet. And yeah, that's mostly for kids, isn't it? That. But yeah, I used to get it when I was a kid. But yeah, what the doctor gave me a prescription for was like it was just a stronger version of ibuprofen. And I'm wondering if it was probably just like a placebo or whatever. I don't know. But I needed something because, like, my Achilles tendon, like, my heel and, like, the back of my foot and to the right-hand side slightly was in constant pain. I was having to put my foot in a bucket of water. Like, I literally went to that Jack Catterall fight limping. I was, like, hopping around and limping and just in constant pain. It was horrible. I should have taken a bloody walking stick or something. And it got to the point where I couldn't walk without crutches. So, like, my whole trip to Nottingham was just crap that way. I couldn't really do much. Just having to sit about. There was stuff we'd planned to do that I couldn't do. So, which is part of the reason I'm going back down in December. Hopefully, there's no injuries or things that ruin that. Hopefully, it all goes smoothly. How would prime Mike Tyson do in today's era? I think he would do very well, but I don't think he would do as well as he did because a lot of the guys now are too big. Like Tyson Fury's way too big for him. Usyk is way too skilled for him and way too athletic. So, and I think like the absolute elite guys now would beat him and beat him comfortably. But he could probably make someone like Mike Tyson panic, and sorry, he could probably make someone like Anthony Joshua or Daniel Dubois panic and force him to quit. But I think there's a lot of guys nowadays he would really struggle with just based on size and athletic ability. Tyson was never, in my opinion, he was never able to deal with like well-rounded big heavyweights. Like look at what Lennox Lewis did to him, completely took him apart and destroyed him. I don't see why someone like Fury couldn't do the same, or Usyk for that matter. Since you're on crutches, you have a good chance at being picked as Jake Paul's next opponent. Yeah, maybe Jake Paul will be like, now that guy, that's a perfect candidate or someone that I could maybe potentially beat without having to pay them to lay down. Riddick Bowe versus Bakoli. That would be a very, very interesting fight, actually, because they've got a lot of similarities, similar size, similar sort of awkward style, well-rounded guys, but also very flawed, not in the best shape. I'd probably favour Bowe. I think he was more proven as both an amateur and a pro, just a lot more experience at a much higher level. So I'd probably go with Riddick Bowe to win that fight, probably by late stoppage, I would say. But it's a good fight. I think Bakoli's a bigger puncher, probably tougher too, but Riddick Bowe's just technically a lot more proven, a little bit more athletic too. Well, Fury's not pillow fisted, is he? Let's be honest. That's just nonsense. And Tyson Fury would never fight Mike Tyson after the Kevin McBride fight. Yeah, the Tyson after the Kevin McBride fight would have been like if he'd have kept fighting, then he'd have just been a heavyweight journeyman. Well, I think Dubois is better at hiding the low blows, but I think Galata was a slightly harder puncher, so his had more of like an immediate effect. Like Galata was a better fighter in my opinion than Dubois by far, but they both have similar flaws. They're both dirty fighters and they both don't have much fighting heart. So I think Galata being the bigger man and being the bigger puncher, his are probably like even though Dubois is more sneaky with it, he's better at disguising it. I think Galotta's were more effective. So yeah, I would say Galotta. Yeah, he's saying him. Well, you heard it from the man himself, so hard to argue with that, innit? Oh man, I can pour myself a drink. It's a nice sound. Don't know if the microphone picks that up very well, but if it does, it's a great sound. Got another one in the fridge. Don't know if I'll open it tonight or not. Depends how I feel, Depends how I feel. I might just have another cup of tea tonight if I want something. I like watching Don Charles interviews because he tries hard to come across as a tough guy, but you can tell it's not real. Yeah. Don Charles is a guy who likes to have that image. He's like his image is I'm a gangster who is now a boxing trainer, but I used to be a gangster, and then if I've got a short fuse, so if you say something that gets on my bad side, the gangster in me will come out, because I'm from the streets. That's just the vibe I get from Don Charles. Like he just wants everyone to think that he's like a reformed character from the streets who, would rather would be cool with you, but if you get on his bad side, he'll knock you out because he's that hard, and he's always threatening people, always throwing his weight around. And I just he's one of these people I would love to just smack him in the face, because I guarantee you if I did, he would go right into his shell, and reality would be too much for him. Like there's no doubt that guy isn't hard. No doubt about it. Yeah, Lorena managed to give Dubois a concussion. So if he could, like, imagine what like a prime Mike would be able to do. Oh yeah, the title was straight facts, in it. Jake and Logan are purely vain. The heels of WWE, like Hulk Hogan, didn't take themselves seriously and were funny. The Paul brothers are just pure scumbags and terrible people. To be perfectly honest, I don't actually know that much about them, because unlike a lot of the normies that complain about them but still watch their fights and pay for them and bet on the opponents, I've never actually paid much attention to the Paul brothers, and I've never actually watched them fight or paid a penny towards them. So I don't know that much, about them. Don Charles is still crying to this day about David Hay breaking his jaw. Yeah. Well, he can't have been that hard then, could he? If he's crying about that. He glassed me. I'm going to physically shoot him. I go to shoot David Hay. I go to physically shoot him. Fun times. Eh? Don Charles tried to say Hay attacked him for no reason, but the footage shows him going after Hay. Yeah, Chisora went right up to Hay after saying he was going to slap him. So Hay smacked him with the bottle in his hand. Then Don Charles got involved and started throwing his weight around. So Hay fought him off and defended himself. So yeah, Chisora and Don Charles were the instigator of that situation, the whole thing, and they got what they deserved. Oh yeah, you're on about Logan Paul where he filmed that dead body. I do remember that. I remember PJW made a video about that. Funniest thing about the press conference, bro, was Vitali just laughing in the back. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was laughing at the Hay versus Chisora brawl. Like Vitali just in the background pissing himself laughing. That was quite funny. I remember that. I don't watch them either. It's just from what I've watched, they aren't even entertaining, just malicious. Yeah, well, I wouldn't waste my time watching them. I definitely wouldn't. That's what the normies do. You're probably right, though. You're probably right. Can't beat a bit of Chisora, a complete clown at times, but he's entertaining. Yeah, I like watching him get beat anyway. Watching him lose is always fun. You'll never you'll never tire of that. Yeah, Chisora is a degenerate, and he's basically punch drunk now. But having that win over Joe Joyce might get him another big fight. So you might get to watch him lose again. Who knows? Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Chisora did get his arse out. I remember that. And somebody made an account of it online. It was called Chisora's Arse. That was the name of the account. Yeah, I don't know how Joyce managed to lose that fight. I think Joyce is just a retard, and I think he's punch drunk himself. So yeah, he ruined his whole career and legacy. Like, because imagine losing to Chisora. Like that's like, especially now at this stage of Chisora's career, that's like the most mortifying thing that could happen to like a aspiring heavyweight contender, and losing to Chisora. Yeah, I've said that for a while. Chisora should fight Pulev again in Bulgaria. I don't want it to be in the UK. It should be in Bulgaria. That way he can take his beating and let Pulev get his own back. That fight should happen. Him and White's gloves are off will forever be my favorite, just pure nonsense. Yeah, where it's like, who is the donkey? Who is the donkey? You want me to put it on you? Like that was so funny. Like I got that. That was almost as funny as like the Hay Klitschko one or the Hopkins Pascal one. It was almost as funny as them. Almost. Like not quite, but almost. I was wondering if you're gonna do a stream today. How's it going, CPB? Good to see you, man. God bless you. Zhang really messed up Joyce. Yes, yeah, yeah. Joyce before he's like everyone's uh everyone's like got a plan in it until they punch me in the face and nothing happens in it. Yeah, that's my Joe Joyce impression. That's the best you'll get there in it. Turkey should host it in Saudi. Are you on about Pulev versus Chisora 3? No, I want it in Bulgaria. If that fight's going to happen anywhere, it should be in Bulgaria with 3 Bulgarian judges and a Bulgarian referee, like preferably, just to avoid any corruption. Just so I can hear also so I can hear the commentators say, but well, this is a close fight, and we the judges could be seeing it either way. But remember, we are in Bulgaria. Like never once did they say we are in Britain, but if it was in Bulgaria, they would say we are in Bulgaria. Like the British commentators couldn't wait to say that. I feel bad for Pulev. He could have had some more paydays if he hadn't been robbed in the second Chisora fight. Yeah, he should have gotten the Fury fight, because after that fight, Chisora got the third fight with Fury. If Pulev had won that fight, he could have gotten the Fury fight, and he would have put up a much better effort. It would have been a much better fight for us to watch as well. No idea. Who cares? Joyce must honestly be slow. He'd been dropped here. I'm talking slow. I'm talking like Joyce. I'm stuck in my Joyce impression. Joyce must honestly be slow. He'd been dropped multiple times in the amateurs with 16-ounce gloves. Why did he think he was a heavyweight Jake LaMotta or something? Yeah, probably just because he was so much bigger than most of the guys he was fighting, and he was naturally had like a big head. He was quite durable, so he was able to stand there and let them beat up on him. On the juggernaut in it. He can't hurt me because he hit me because I didn't in it. That's his justification. Didn't Fury duck? Yeah, Fury did duck Pulev for the IBF eliminator. Turned it down. Where is Pulev now? No, he's fighting Manbul Char apparently. Who knows if the fight will actually happen? But yeah, that fight's still supposed to be happening apparently. Yeah, Joyce is a nice guy, but his IQ is very low. It's dangerously low, actually. Like he's a big dum dum. He's a me dum dum, you give me gum gum. You know. Prime Pulev had one of the best jabs I've ever seen. Oh yeah, he had a great jab. Very powerful, very fast, very accurate. Good lead hand control, good feints to set it up. He had a great jab. Jake Paul is the greatest. This generation's Floyd. People will pay to watch his fights just to see him get annihilated, but then he'll get the nod on points. He'll lose once he's forced to fight someone good. But yeah, that's how greatness is measured. I was talking about this earlier. That's how greatness is measured in modern day sport is how many tickets you sell, how much money you generate, and that's all that matters. You can be great without being a very good fighter. And hit the likes of Floyd and Jake Paul are proof of that. Joyce has an art degree and made a painting of Dubois taking a knee. Did he actually? That's funny. Vlad should come out of retirement and beat up Jake, but Jake would never fight someone bigger than him. No, because what incentive does he have? He just fought like midget Mike Tyson, who's in his like late 50s, and probably got paid like tens of millions. So, like, what incentive does he have to fight anybody who's a genuine threat to him? I don't. Why should he? I mean, if I was in his position, would I fight a genuine threat to me? I don't think so. I'd probably just keep milking all the normies for everything they're worth. That's, like I said earlier, that's how greatness is measured. It's measured by popularity and market value and all that good stuff. That's greatness. That's all it is now. Nothing else matters. Jake Paul even lost to Tom F. Fury. Neither of them are even area level. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. What people were saying, sort of in the aftermath of that fight, was Tommy Fury's a garbage boxer, but he's still a boxer, and Jake Paul isn't really a boxer. So, even a garbage boxer beats a non-boxer, in a boxing match. That's kind of how certain people rationalize that. Eubank versus O'Sullivan, gloved her off, is another hidden gem. Eubank just chatting pure. Yeah, I remember watching that. I watched that gloves are off, and O'Sullivan barely said a word. He just sat there. He barely said anything the whole time. Not saying Mike isn't good, obviously, but it was clearly way past it. Well, I mean, 58 years old. I mean, and been retired for 20 odd years. Again, yeah, Mike Tyson was over the hill 25 years ago. So, but again, even taking that into consideration, normies still thought he was going to win. But that's normies for you. Who should Jake fight next? He should fight me. He should fight me next because I want the money. I want some of that greatness. I want a slice of that action. That's what I want. So need to spread this around, right? Make myself into like a lol cow. Try and blow this channel up, and then we can start calling out Jake Paul. And I'll get my arse out on camera if that's what's necessary. I'll let him make an AI image of me like making out with him, as long as it's not real. And yeah, I'll do whatever I need to do to get that fight and get paid. Innit? Why not? Because I want a slice of that action. So yeah, he should fight me, and that's it. Nobody else. Till I've had my shot. He called out Baturbiev, and people are actually taking it seriously. Honest. That's like top tier trolling, isn't it? Calling out Baturbiev, like the top tier trolling. It's so funny. But it'll get a lot of attention. It genuinely will. I genuinely wouldn't be shocked if Canelo fought Jake Paul. Do you know what? I could see that, because imagine the money that fight would generate. And do you know who else Jake Paul could fight? And I saw people talking about this. He could fight Jorge Kawagi, that guy. Like, there was people in the comment section calling for that fight. Like that's genuinely, like, that would genuinely be a massive fight, a big fight, like, just like in terms of like influence of boxing. Could you imagine that? Or he could fight Joe Fournier or someone like that. Like, just these guys who come into boxing and have got a lot of money backing them. They should all just start fighting each other. It would be interesting. I mean, why not? A lot of people would watch it. A lot of people would pay for it. Thoughts on Eubank possibly getting the Canelo fight? Well, who else is Canelo gonna fight now? I mean, it doesn't matter. Look, it doesn't matter. Like, he's winding down his career now. He's getting the dollars in. He's another fraud who's milking the normies, and he can milk the normies with a fight like that, because Chris Eubank is a name. People know who he is, and lots of normies had paid to see it. So yeah, I got nothing else to say about it, really. Jake would feel one of Beterbiev's glancing shots and quit on the spot. Yeah, but does he have the money to kind of pay Beterbiev to read the script? Do you reckon he could do that? Tell him to fight John Jones for that title. No 60-year-old Mike. Now, John Jones isn't old enough or shot enough for him to even consider that. Plus, he's too much of a loose cannon. That's not somebody who could easily be controlled and bought off. That's somebody who. I mean, Mike Tyson was buck broken a long time ago, but John Jones is still a little bit of a loose cannon. So, he'd still need to be humiliated a bit more before that would happen. Jake Paul versus Danny McBride next, if he can simmer down for a title eliminator for Beterbiev. Yeah, McBride can be the stay busy opponent for him. Could Canelo like legitimately knock out Jake Paul? No, I don't think so. I think he'd probably just beat him on points. Like if that was a real fight, Canelo would probably struggle and just like plod forward and land a few big swinging shots and maybe win on points. I don't think he would knock Jake Paul out. Not legitimately. Like, it would have to be a fixed fight, like all of Canelo's fights. But he wouldn't be able to legitimately knock him out. No chance, I don't think. Taylor Serrano fight really disgusted me. Serrano's face is the best argument for why women should. Wait, so there was a woman fight on the card, was there? Yeah, I don't care. No interest. I genuinely thought Mike could have had a chance with it being 8 2-minute rounds. I felt it could have allowed him to fight in spurts and win on points. Well, I mean, look, he's 58 years old. I mean, even 2-minute rounds is hard for a guy who's pushing 60. I mean, I'm 30 and I'm starting to feel my age. You know, I'm struggling to recover from training even now. Imagine what it'll be like when I'm in my late 50s. You know, could I even go 2 rounds? I don't know, man. Yeah, Canelo is just like Jake Paul, and he's just like Kawagi. I see them as like equally fraudulent. You know. Yeah, you mean today's George Foreman? That'd be a tougher fight than Tyson, probably. You know. Evening was thinking today David Hay drew another comeback. Could do 7 round with Jake Paul, have his leg fall off in the eighth. Yeah, yeah, his Achilles had let him down, and he'd end up quitting or getting stopped like he did against Bellew. You know. Yeah, Foreman is 75 years old, but who knows? That makes him like a prime candidate, doesn't it? Maybe he could fight. Do you know who he could fight? He could fight Frank Dukes. That'd be a good fight for Jake Paul. Frank Dukes. That'd be a good one. And here I thought I was the only one Nordic. Jake will be on the ring mag pound for pound list. Well deserved to, yeah. Well, if pound for pound is based on greatness, and as we've already talked about, greatness is all about popularity and money that you generate, then yeah, without a doubt, Jake Paul should be on the pound for pound list. I mean, he's probably the biggest draw in boxing right now, and he's probably only going to get bigger. You know, I also expected Tyson to get the decision if it was close. Well, no, that wouldn't happen because Jake Paul was. What was I going to say? Because a lot of people were betting on Tyson, so they wouldn't want the bookies to lose a lot of money. Because, like I was saying before, the bookies survives and turns a profit because of all the normies that bet on emotion, and a lot of people were betting on Tyson because they wanted him to win. They deluded themselves into thinking he was going to go for the knockout and that be able to get it at 58 years old. That's how the bookies make their money. The bookies works the same way as the lottery. You know, idiot normies who think that they can spend a fiver and then wake up the next morning with 80 million in the bank. They think that that's possible. They think it's literally possible for them to win the lottery and become multimillionaires because, you know, the government funded lottery or the lottery, which is funded by the government, they would just let some random nobody make 80 million in untaxed cash overnight, that they would just allow that to happen. Again, the kind of people who believe that that's possible are the same kind of people who bet on boxing and who place large amounts of money on a 58-year-old man fighting a guy in his prime who's bigger than him. Like, that's how the gambling industry survives. It survives off the back of normies, and it is what it is, you know. Do you reckon John Fury would take the fight against Jake Paul? Do you know what? Like, again, we're saying all this as a joke, right? But that's definitely something that's viable. You know, look, John Fury. What he's a similar sort of age to Tyson. You know, from a similar sort of era. Why couldn't that fight happen? Why couldn't it? You know, he's an ex-pro. He has a record on BoxRec. You know, they could get like some state commission in America to sanction it, and you know they could get BoxRec to recognize it, and they could sell that fight, make a lot of money. And you know the normies will talk about how John Fury is a fighting man and he's a gypsy and he's a bare knuckle warrior and he was also a pro. Like they could talk about that and they could hype it up and make it a big deal. That could easily happen, you know. You can take the steroids Jake does to recover, yeah, but I can't afford them. And I'm also scared of my balls shrinking or something. You know, I want to have children one day. You know, I don't want to be firing blanks by the age of 32. You know, Tyson should, and I don't want to have heart problems either. Tyson should just use a jab on the outside, even though he's shorter. His jab is much better than Jake's. Yeah, but it's difficult to do that when you're 58 years old and you don't have any stamina. You're slow. You've been like out of shape for so many years. You've taken steroids that much that it's destroyed your natural hormone levels. Like there's no way that Tyson would have been able to just stick and move on the outside behind a jab at that age against anybody, really. It's not going to happen. Imagine a 75-year-old Foreman actually outbox Jake Paul behind the jab. You could see it. Could you imagine it? Like I seen a video of Foreman on the punch bag, and he was like joking about making a comeback. It would be pretty funny. And what's funny about that too is like Foreman is the type of person who would probably genuinely believe in his own mind that was possible, because he made that comeback in his late 30s and won the heavyweight title in his 40s. He probably genuinely would believe he could win that fight. So he would go into that fight like really, really full of self-confidence and belief, which might actually like push him over the edge and cause him to get the job done. Like you never know. Like that, the psychology there is interesting. Guess who's only 1 year younger than Tyson? Sven Ottke. Oh, really? Sven Ottke can make a comeback then. That would be. I wanted Sven Ottke to make a comeback and fight like Carl Froch and school him in Germany. That would have been. I had a dream that happened once, and I woke up and I was really sad because it was a dream. I reckon Big George would have Jake's number. Yeah, even at 75, maybe. You never know. Jake doesn't want the smoke with me, Daz. No, Jake doesn't want that classic Sven Ottke 1-2, like to the temple, which would lay him out cold. He'd be doing the Anthony Mundine, snoozing on the canvas, with the referee counting to 10, slowly. Jake will get a title shot. Yeah, imagine if he did. Like he'd probably get like an international title or something. I'm sure some scumbags will sanction Foreman versus Paul. Yeah. But on the subject of Jake Paul getting a title shot, the WBC said that they were going to they genuinely said that they were going to sanction Jake Paul fights and have him ranked. And not only that, but do you remember that guy I spoke about earlier, Jorge Kwagi? He had a WBC title. That guy actually had a WBC cruiserweight title, like an international title or something. So they sanctioned his fights. And you can tell that they were partially behind that scam, because how could they not have known what was going on there? Like, look into that situation, because that situation with Jorge Kwagi, that kind of highlights what I've been talking about for years about how like that's an extreme example, don't get me wrong, but that's kind of what I was talking about for years, about how you can literally buy a boxing career. And if you've got that kind of money behind you, you can manufacture like an incredible record in the sport of boxing and have fool people into genuinely thinking you're the real deal. Again, that's an extreme example, but there are a lot of very highly regarded fighters who had a similar sort of manufactured start to their careers. Mike Tyson being one of them. So I could see it happening. As that Aussie commentator said, when Danny Green beat Roy Jones, when you beat a legend, you become a legend. Yeah, I remember that. That was funny. It's like, when you beat a legend, you become a legend. And then the commentators were like flipping out over it because he got the first round knockout. Yeah, that was quite funny. I remember that fight. I remember that at the time as well. That actually surprised a lot of people when that happened. Looking back on it, it seems obvious because Roy was so shot, like he was beyond shot. But like a lot of people didn't really rate Danny Green at cruiserweight, but he came back. But yeah, that knockout against Roy seems obvious, but at the time, a lot of people didn't expect it. I don't think there's anybody else for him to fight that has a name. I disagree. I think there's a lot of guys he could. Again, there's a lot of retired boxers, like guys like John Fury and Holyfield and so many others who are like constantly talking about making comebacks. There's lots of influencers, you got people like Kawagi, people like Fournier, guys like that, like Joe Fournier, that would be a good fight for him. David Hay, Tony Bellew. There was talks of Tony Bellew fighting Jake Paul. There's a lot of guys he could fight who have got a name, who are desperate for money and attention, who would make that fight. Yeah, yeah. That's all sport gambling is. It's a tax on normies, just like the lottery is. It's a scam. It's like sport gambling is a big scam. It is. Roy Jones is overrated. His resume isn't that good. He ducked several fighters in his prime. Yeah, like Mikuchevsky and Rosiani and several others. Jake Paul is going to be like Starkiller from The Force Awakens, disposing legends the past who are coming out of exile and taking them out one by one. Yeah, that's quite a good analogy, actually. I got to play that game again, then. Force Unleashed. I've not played it in ages. Yeah, I like that game, though. Sad thing about Paul versus Tyson fight is that it's actually on Tyson's record, yeah. I don't even find that sad. I find that funny. To me, that makes me laugh when I hear about that. I find it funny. Jake Paul doesn't want to smoke with Big John. He's an odd man from the caravan mind. He's a true fighting man. He gouged a man's eyes out in a fight because he's a fighting man. The best way to gamble is to just bet a little bit. Yeah, just bet on a little bit here and there. Don't like bet large amounts of money. Don't do what I did and put a lot of money on Tyson Fury. I'm still seething about that. Don't get me wrong. I made it back with Jack Catterall. So as you guys know, I'm a big fan of Jack Catterall because he made me a lot of money on 2 occasions. So well, he made me a little bit of money last time, but he made me a lot of money on 1 occasion, and I got my money back for wasting it on Fury. So I'm thankful to Jack Catterall there. But I digress. The point of what I'm saying is, don't do what I did and bet a lot of money on a guy like Fury who's not reliable. Now Jake Paul doesn't want no smoke with Big John. Wait, I already read that. Sorry. After seeing John Fury hurt himself by headbutting that Ukrainian kid, it's a miracle he managed to gouge anyone's eyes out. Well, to be fair, it was like a pensioner. It was like a small old pensioner whose eyes he gouged out. So, yeah, it is what it is. The best way to sports gamble is to just bet a little bit on all the likely underdogs. Yeah, that's the only way to get a consistency profit. But even then, you're not going to get rich. Nobody ever got rich from gambling on sports. It's like that's where the saying comes from. The house always wins. Always. That if you bet consistently, any money that you win, you'll lose it in the long run because all the small wins you're going to get, when you bet on something big, you'll lose it all. Right? You'll lose it all. House always wins. Steroids make you perpetually angry, plus your bits will shrivel like prunes, and your ticker will be a time bomb. Lay off the roids. Yeah, exactly. I'm too scared to take roids. I'm too much of like a testosterone fueled like alpha male badass to take roids. So no, I'm not gonna do that I'm not gonna do that to my balls or my heart. Foreman had a great jab when he used it. Yeah, for sure. Very good jab, particularly later in his career. He had a great jab. Yeah, Foreman is much mentally stronger than Tyson. Like Tyson couldn't come back in his 40s and do what Foreman did, even at that level. No chance. In fact, he actually ducked Foreman, interestingly enough. Like he ducked like a 40-year-old Foreman. You've been playing any games recently? I certainly have. I've been playing a lot of games recently. Like that's what I've been doing with my time when I'm not working. Like because I've not been on social media and that. I've been working, then I've been playing games. The last game I played, I actually uploaded it on the gaming channel. I played the 2 Harry Potter games on PS1. I played both of them start to finish, and I completed them both 100%. I uploaded it to the channel with commentary. So yeah, if anybody's interested in that, I uploaded that there. But I think everybody who's interested in that is like already over there. But yeah, those are the last 2 games I played. And tomorrow I'm going to play the 3rd one, and I'm the Prisoner of Azkaban, and I'm going to upload that as well. That's a new thing I've been doing, is I've been like playing a game from start to finish, recording it the whole way through, and yeah, uploading it to the channel. Because I've been like my reviews that I've been making, they've not been getting a lot of views, so I'm like sick and tired of wasting my time editing them because barely anybody's even watching. So I've just started taking like the lazy approach to my gaming channel for the moment. I'm just playing through the games all the way through and uploading the full thing as it is, you know. So yeah, I'm doing that. But yeah, to answer your question, I was playing the Harry Potter games. Once I'm done with that, I'm gonna play the Fight Night games again. I'm planning on making like a retrospective on the whole Fight Night series for the channel. I'm gonna upload that, and I'm also gonna upload. Well, I'm gonna do another full playthrough for the original Spyro game, Spyro One on the PS1. I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna complete the whole thing 100% in one go, and I'm gonna upload that. And I'm also going to do like these are just the projects I'm working on. I'm also going to be doing I'll probably do this early next year though. I'm going to do a trilogy retrospective for the Time Splitters games. So I'm going to be playing them again. I've not played them in a while. I'm going to be playing them again, and yeah, I'm going to be making a retrospective on those. So yeah, those are kind of the projects I've currently got in the works for, as far as gaming is concerned. But aside from that, not really much. So yeah, that answers the question, I reckon. Torres Jr. versus Jake should happen. The only fight I want to see Jake in. Yeah, he'd probably get stopped. Jake could probably get stopped if it was real. EA's next boxing game will probably have that as a main campaign, a story that follows Jake Paul and his Supreme Leader Turkey to organize fights with all the legends. You unlock them by winning. Yeah, you fight like all the legends who are in like their 50s to 70s, old ass fighters. Imagine that. Like that's the main campaign. Maybe Andre Bishop can be on it too, and he can be the final boss, but he's like 75 years old. And like they'll have like Isaac Frost as his trainer or something. Imagine that. That was mad. And Anthony Mundine comatose. The rev counts. He got up about a week later. Yeah. He was like literally snoozing out cold on the canvas, and the referee's like standing over him doing the full count. That was so funny. That was so funny. That referee was what was it, Jane Adey or whatever? It was no, not Jane Adey, Wayne Kelly. It was quite a experienced American referee. Usually did a great job, but that was funny there. Yeah, Foreman's a natural heavyweight. Tyson isn't. Tyson's like a roided up midget. Tyson's probably about my size, if truth be told, naturally, but he's just roided up. Whereas Foreman is like a naturally big guy, well, way bigger. I like to see Big John Fury take on the Don Charles for the UK's hardest man. Yeah, they can fight for the governor title or whatever they call it. The the hardest man from the streets title. That's what they can do. UK's hardest man. Can imagine that. Yeah, Ola Afolabi allegedly took a dive against Mario Dazer. Mario Dazer was a cruiserweight contender in Germany who was apparently like a millionaire and a businessman. And yeah, allegedly, I've seen the fight and it looked like a dive to me. Allegedly, Afolabi took a dive in the third round, and that was after making it 9 rounds with Marco Huck. So very, very suspicious, in my opinion. Plus, he retired after, which makes it even more suspicious. That was the same with a lot of Kawagi's opponents. Kawagi's opponents, most of them retired after fighting him, suspiciously getting knocked out in the first round. And yeah, they made a lot of money off it. It's funny when people win the lottery, post that they've won online or have taken a photo, and people are surprised once they get robbed. Yeah. Do you know that there was a guy who, again, this is part of the reason I say the lottery is obviously rigged. There was a guy I know of because I used to work for the housing, right? There was this guy, he was unemployed, right? Didn't have a job, right? Was on like housing benefit. Right? I don't know what it's on, some sort of benefit he was getting, right? But this guy was driving around in a Mercedes, right? And he always had money. Like his house was filled with expensive gear And again, he had a nice fancy car. And allegedly, this guy was a drug dealer, right? Quite a high end drug dealer as well. And this guy ended up winning £1 million on the lottery and bought himself a fancy house and all sorts of cars and all that. And I'm like, clearly, this guy already had money. He was already like well connected. And clearly, it was manufactured. He was chosen from this sort of underclass area to kind of promote the idea that, oh, you can be like a regular guy on like, because that's how the media portrayed it. Oh, he's like a poor like underclass guy on benefits who had no money, and he won £1 million. That's the lottery changed his life. It saved it got him out the gutter. But the fact of the matter is the guy already had money because he was already driving around in a Mercedes, and basically he had a alleged means of income, that was already there. So clearly he was given. Clearly he was just what was I going to say? He was manufactured to win the lottery. That it wasn't just a random thing. As far as I'm concerned. Or they'll win a couple of £1 million and think I can retire now, but then piss it all away and go bankrupt within a year. Yeah, yeah, because you could the way that the UK is, if you make £1 million and you buy yourself a house, a car, pay off your mortgage, whatever. Like that money, most of that money is just going to get spent on tax anyway, because the UK doesn't allow you to become a millionaire because this is a socialist, communist country. It's a communist crap hole that we live in. So they don't allow people to make their fortune and become financially secure. That's why in this country there's people who are in their 70s and 80s who are still sweeping the floors and working as janitors and landscapers and whatnot, because they don't allow you to retire in this country. Not really. Not unless you're extremely lucky or extremely well connected. It is what it is. The working class in this country are never really able to retire. Remember Mickey Carroll, the bin man, who won 9 million, then shoved half of Peru up his nose and ended up back on the bins. Yeah, exactly. If you're not careful with the money, you're not careful with the money, you'll be back to square one, won't you? Even if you do win it. If Ali was still alive, Jake Paul would try to fight him, yeah. And all the normies would probably watch it too. Yeah, yeah. Roy did duck Steve Collins. That's a fact. Everyone knows that. That's a famous one. That's not to say that he wouldn't have beaten him, but yeah, he still ducked him. He's made you money, so you've forgiven his creepy sociopathic nature. Yeah, yeah. Jack Catterall is my cash cow. That guy's made me money. Like I was seething. Like I didn't admit it at the time, but I was seething that Tyson Fury lost me all that money. But just a week later, Jack Catterall made me it all back. So that kind of took a big weight off my mind there. So I like Jack Catterall. I got a lot of time for the guy. Do you know what's funny though? See, when I went to the Prograis fight, I was in the crowd with a whole bunch of Jack Catterall fans. We were surrounded by Jack Catterall's like normie fans from Chorley. Every single one of them thought he lost the fight. I'm not kidding. Every single one of them thought Prograis won, and they were all saying like see, by the second round, they were all quiet and they were saying to each other, "Why is he running away? He's not trying. He's not doing anything. What's going on?" And they were genuinely pissed off. They were like, "Come on, Jack, do something. What are you doing?" And like, see, at the end of the fight, like they were so dejected. They thought that Prograis had won the fight, but then Catterall got the decision. It was funny. But yeah, even Catterall's like normie fan base, who were like screaming in the first round, by the second round they were quiet and they were like, "Yeah, this guy's garbage." Like, so I don't think his popularity will last. I think his fan base will abandon him soon enough. Fasting can massively increase your testosterone levels naturally. Yeah, it can. I know that for a fact. Like I've been to the gym after intermittent fasting, and depending on what I'm doing, I feel really good. Like it makes me feel really good for training sometimes. Oh yeah, PS1 Hagrid is a legend. Absolutely. Come to me up for a cup of tea and a chat. Hagrid. Come to me. He's like, I want to hear all about your first day, Hagrid. We all need to do a massive, endless Wikipedia and just remove Jake Paul from Tyson's record until the Wikipedia mods give up. Yeah. Andre Bishop had a glass chin, but the heart of a lion. Yeah, Andre Bishop would get dropped like 8 times in a fight, but he would keep getting up and then would eventually win after all that, you know? Yeah, let's pitch this to EA. Yeah. Yeah, like a 75-year-old Andre Bishop is the last boss and he's trained by Isaac Frost. Imagine that. Oh, Foreman was physically strong. You ever see that photo of him where he's like carrying a cow on his back? Like that was so funny. Random fact of the day: John Fury's local was featured in Britain's Hardest Boozers, the one after Jack, Victor, Winston, and the gang. Do you know? That's weird. You could say that because I watched that episode yesterday. That, like, for those of you who don't know what Daz is referring to here, he's referring to the episode Hard Nuts from Still Game, and I actually watched that episode yesterday. So it's weird that you bring that up. I would be so happy if both guys tested positive for PEDs and the fight's ruled a no contest. Yeah, imagine. Oh, they were both definitely on steroids. There's no doubt about that. I mean, definitely Tyson. You see Tyson's body for 58 years old. Yeah, he's on steroids, no doubt. Oh, yeah, Big Innes. Big Innes would iron out John Fury. You know, do you know what Big Innes would do? He would grab John Fury by the top of his head, pick him up, and just slam him into a bin or something. It like Big Innes would do to John Fury what the Hulk did to Loki. That's what he would do. That'd be Big Innes to John Fury. He would. Another famous one was Howard from Doncaster, who had claimed he won the lotto when he hadn't. He bought a house and started work on it before getting robbed. That's just crazy, isn't it, man? Oh yeah, Big Innes is a fighting man from the streets of Craig Lang. Proper hard man, you know? Without a doubt. What's your favorite X-Men character? Mine was always Cyclops. Do you know my favorite's probably Nightcrawler. I really love Nightcrawler. Like Nightcrawler's like super based, total based character. But I like Cyclops too. He's cool too. But yeah, I really like Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler's my favorite character. It's socialism with the worst elements of capitalism. The system takes control of your life while abandoning toy completely. Yeah, exactly. Abandoning you completely, without a doubt. I agree with that. I think Collins ducked Kawasaki personally. Well, he retired instead of fight Kawasaki, but I don't think it was necessarily that he was ducking him. I think it's just that he'd had enough of boxing and he couldn't really get up for the fight, so he just called it a day. Which I guess is technically a duck, but I think it was a duck for different reasons, you know. It's the worst aspect of socialism and fascist style crony capitalism. A fortunate few get socialism for the rich and everyone else gets bled dry. Yeah. Again, like the socialites, the people who are like born onto the top, they benefit from being in the club, whereas the rest of us, the working class, the underclass, we just get bled dry. We have to pay our taxes and we don't get the services for those taxes, but we've got no choice. If you want to earn money, you want to have a job, you're going to have to pay your taxes. They just take it straight off your paycheck, Jake Paul's the best boxer of all time. Well, he's one of the greatest for sure, as we've discussed. Catterall was still fouling a shot Josh Taylor in the rematch. Yeah, he did. He headbutted constantly, clinched constantly. He's just a cheating, dirty little mug. That's what he is, I had money on Prograis as it happens. The scorecards were disturbingly wide, although I thought Jack did enough. Well, I had Prograis winning, and so did Jack's fan base in the crowd, as I mentioned earlier. But yeah, it was a close fight for sure. But I thought Prograis won. But like again, I had money on Catterall, so I don't care. I got paid off it. Jake Paul versus Roy Shaw. Do you know? I think that would depend. Like if Roy Shaw could get like right up on Jake Paul's chest and start ripping him with hooks, and like hitting him low and using his head, like he might be able to break Jake Paul mentally. But I think if Paul could survive like the first like minute and just tire Roy Shaw out a bit, he could knock Roy Shaw out probably in a couple of rounds. So yeah, Roy Shaw has a puncher's chance like early in the first round, but I think the likelihood is Jake Paul would weather the storm and come back and stop him. I think so. Yeah, Tyson admitted he's on testosterone replacement therapy, just like Gage. But I think in Gage's case, the testosterone replacement therapy is basically a mask for what he's really doing. Because AJ is way too young to take testosterone replacement therapy. Like TRT, that's often offered to guys who are in their 40s and 50s or even older. It's not often afforded to guys who are in their 20s and 30s. So I think it's probably a mask for steroid use. Nordic, what part or parts of the Tyson Paul fight? Well, I didn't watch it, so I have no idea. I didn't watch the fight, and I probably won't. I've not even seen the highlights. I didn't waste my time. I just used Tyson Paul to clickbait. That's all it is. Thoughts on the fight being yeah, I talked about this earlier. It's Tyson obviously doesn't need the money. For him it was about just following the script, signing whatever that contract was and agreeing to humiliate himself and to sell out his name for you know keeping himself relevant. Essentially, that's what it seems like to me. You could see during the lockdown who were all asked to sign our individual lives over to the contrived collective, and the hand clap for the NHS thing was just creepy. Yeah, people were worshipping the NHS like it was a god instead of a national service that we pay for. Why that's like if you pay your local news agents for a newspaper subscription, and then they bring you your newspaper maybe like once every 2 weeks, but they don't bring it as often as they're supposed to, even though you're paying for it to come every day. And then every single day you start clapping, yay, clap for the newspaper, clap for the news agent. That's like. That's like that's like if you were subscribed to Netflix or Amazon Prime or something, but every time you try to use it, it doesn't work. It doesn't load. You can't watch anything except for maybe occasionally now and then, once in a blue moon, it might work. And then you're out in the street clapping for Netflix, clapping for Amazon Prime. It's literally the same concept. You pay tax for the NHS. You pay their wages by paying your taxes, right? Which you have no choice over. So why would you clap for them and act as if they're doing you a favor? It doesn't make any sense. They're not doing anybody a favor. That's not how basic economics work. Okay, nothing comes for free in this country. Okay, nothing. If you're getting something, if you're getting some sort of service, you're paying for it. And if you're not paying for it, you're not getting it. And sometimes, even if you are paying it, you're still not getting it, if that makes sense. So anybody who did that is a moron and a normie, and I've got no respect for them. I'm going for a piss. I'll be back. clapping for the NHS like a couple of seals, man. That's what the normies were doing, just because they were copying all the other normies, you know. I think the perfect time for Colin Jones would have been on the Nassim Kevin Kelly show Frank Warren promoted. Yeah, it would have been as good a time as any. You know, they could have had it there. But Roy didn't want it, so it is what it is. Jake Paul knocks Harry Greb out in the first round, unironically. I'm not even joking about that. Who was the gypsy guy who got Anthony Mundine by Burt Cooper? Yeah, what was that guy's name again? Was it Joe Savage or something like that? I think the guy was called. I think he was a gypsy bare knuckle boxer, and he got like brutally knocked out by Burt Cooper. I'm sure that was the guy's name. I think it was Joe Savage. I think I'm right about that. Harry Greb might be the most talented boxer of all time. He can't be matched in any era. Yeah, I remember the weird hand clap thing. Yeah, they were out on the balconies clapping for the NHS, and there was like some big fireworks show that said NHS. People are literally worshipping a socialist medical system that we don't even get, that we're paying for but not even receiving, and they're out in the street like celebrating it and clapping for it. That's normies all over, and that just sums them up. Daniel 7:25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and lows. Wise words. I actually took some of my stepdad's testosterone tablets when I was a teenager. I almost felt superhuman. Then I started getting aggressive, and my mum barred me from taking them. Yeah. There's no reason to take them if you're a young guy or a kid, because the only testosterone you need is the testosterone that is produced by your massive balls, you know. But if you're like a 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old guy, and you've got no energy, then you might benefit from it, you know. I have family members who work for the NHS. They told me that when we were being told the hospitals are overwhelmed, they were empty. Yeah, they were. And like I remember there was people who went to the hospitals with cameras undercover, and people were getting arrested for filming the hospitals and proving that they were empty, you know. That was proven. The hospitals were empty, and the media was lying, saying that there was just bodies everywhere and people were dying left, right, and center. But the nurses were going online on TikTok and dancing while wearing masks and all that, just to mock people, you know, mocking the working class. But we're supposed to clap for these arseholes, you know. Well, I didn't clap for them because I don't respect them one bit, you know. Young people on minimum wage in the shops continued working during the lockdown. No Thursday clap for them, though. Yeah, there was no clap for the janitors, no clap for the, you know, for the caretakers. There was no clap for the retail staff, for the security staff, you know, for the people who do like maintenance work, construction work, people working in like restaurants or gyms or anything. There was no clap for those people, was there? Just for these like holier than thou NHS workers. You know, plenty of claps for them, you know. I've heard plenty of stories about empty hospitals, nurses sat in social rooms playing cards, mate, all the time. I remember years ago, right? I was at work and I split my hand open with a hedge cutter, right? And I almost lost my finger. I went to a hospital, a local hospital, right? And there was two doctors and a reception staff sitting like talking and laughing and like messing about at the reception. And I had my high vis like and a big bandage soaked in blood wrapped around my hand. And I said to them, I'm like, hey, listen, can somebody take a look at this? I'm scared I might lose my finger. And they will, oh no, we're not on shift. You need a phone up appointment to come here, and we don't have any available. So what you're going to need to go to the Western. This was back when the Western Infirmary was still open. That's been demolished now. This was back in like 2013. And I'm literally standing there. I've got like my high vis vest and like a bandage around my hand. It's soaked in blood. I'm like gone white because I've lost that much blood. I could literally pass out, and I could be like seconds away from losing my finger. And these two are doctors. I mean, literal licensed doctors. Not one of them thought, no, hang on a second, just come in, let me take a look at that before I send you away. So not one of them thought, as a doctor, who's taken my Hippocratic oath and who's getting paid tax money. This guy pays taxes. Not one of them thought, no, just come in here a sec. Let me take a look at that and see if there's anything we can do. No, they just sat there like a couple of spare pricks and told me, no, you need an appointment here and there isn't any available. So you've got to go to the Western, which is halfway across the city. So I had to get a taxi from where I was, right, which was again a local hospital, and I had to go all the way to the Western to get my thing looked at, and I was like sat in a bloody in a waiting room surrounded by no doubt illegal immigrants and junkies and alkies and all these idiots. Just sat there waiting. I must have waited over an hour to get somebody to look at my hand and get it bandaged up, only to be told, yeah, you've waited too long to get stitches, so we're just gonna have to bandage it and see what happens. I mean, like, that was a stressful day, I tell you that. But that was probably around about the time I realized what a scam social healthcare was. Like, what that particular day, I realized, like, I'm a working class guy. I'm paying tax. For all they know, I could literally die right now. I could drop dead. I could lose my hand, anything. Never be able to work again. Never have a normal life. And there's two doctors here sitting there, they could care less. Sitting there, just I don't know what they were doing, just laughing and not really. They definitely weren't working, but I guarantee you they were being paid for their time. Not one of them thought, "I'll take a look at this guy's hand just in case it's that urgent." Idiots, man. So yeah, that puts it into perspective what we actually pay for. Yeah, how's it going, man? Yeah, long time no see. God bless you. The lockdowns were and the jabs were a trial run for what's coming and see how compliant people will be. Yeah, and they've taken a lot of data, and I guarantee you that they've figured out now that people are easier to control than they once were. Sven, you think something worse will come? I don't know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. With all joking aside, that's probably true. He probably would knock him out in 30 seconds, but is what it is. It'll never happen, because he's too old now. Yeah, Nordic would unironically knock out Harry Greb. I would, no doubt about it. I'm too big, too strong. Jake Paul versus Harry Greb would be a war. I think Jake Paul knocks him out inside of 2 rounds. I'm not even kidding. I genuinely do. If the world is against truth, then I'm against the world. Yep. Me too. Absolutely. Yeah, it is disgusting behavior, and we pay their wages. That scumbag probably gets 50 grand a year for him to sit there and say, "Oh no, we're not on a shift at the moment," or "You need to go to a different hospital because we don't deal with your kind." Essentially, Canelo looking to age out Beterbiev and watch others take damage while he fights nobody. Yeah. Yeah, Canelo's fights are all fake. That's all there is to it. I would never trust a doctor. These are same people who told everyone that the jab was perfectly safe. Plus, you never know if your doctor is the next Harold Shipman. Exactly. Your doctor could be a sociopath who enjoys watching people suffer. I definitely think a lot of doctors are sociopaths. Like, they don't seem to have any empathy. That all they care about, their career is, right? All they care about is making money. That's all they care about. And we pay their wages. I'm living in New York right now for hockey, and there's an illegal immigrant camp close to our ice rink, and they will try to jump in front of your car and get hit so they can claim insurance money. Yeah, that's why it's very, very wise. If you're a driver, it's very wise to have a dash cam always, because there's a lot of people, even in the UK, there's a lot of people that do that. They try to claim insurance fraud by jumping in front of your car. So always, under every circumstance, always, wherever you go, whatever you're doing, have a dash cam so that you can cover yourself legally, Doctors and police officers have the highest level of psychopaths. Absolutely. A lot of police officers are like bullies who like lording their power over people. And a lot of yeah, a lot of doctors are just flat out psychos, in my opinion. A lot of them. They seem to like making people miserable and causing them harm, you know. Have you knocked anyone out, Nordic? Couple of people, yeah. Couple of people. Not in a long time, mind. Not in years. It's been years and years since I knocked anyone out, you know. Nordic, who's your favorite member of Blackpink? I've no idea what you're talking about. I don't know what that is. Remember those stay at home save lives, and I've had my COVID vaccine memes. Gerbil lemming, yeah. Um, but the worst one was follow the rules and we will get through this together. We will not give in. We will not let COVID beat us. Those people, you know. Oh, idiots, man. Idiots. Yeah, my favorite moment of the lockdown was a meme of Jerry and Kate McCann holding up a stay home, save lives poster. Brilliant. Yeah, yeah, because Kate and Jerry McCann are like the most responsible and trustworthy individuals. Like, if you want to ask anybody for like advice on just life in general and how to do the right thing, it's Kate and Jerry McCann. They're the most trustworthy individuals out there for sure. We went from trusting science to trusting scientists who are for sale as everyone else. Yeah, like Dr. Anthony Fauci. I mean, after all, he is a doctor. And being a doctor, he's totally trustworthy, right? He can never be wrong about anything, even though he admitted on national TV to lying about a great many things. He admitted to being a liar, right? He lied and admitted about it, right? So, yeah. But after all, he is a doctor. You know, Harold Shipman, after all, he is a doctor, you know? Tell us the story of your knockout. That's nothing interesting. Nothing interesting. I've never knocked anybody out in a boxing ring. Like I've dropped people before in the ring, like, but I've never like knocked anyone out in sparring, like. But I've knocked people out outside of the ring with bare knuckle, you know. But again, it's been a long ass time. In Australia, they were arresting people on the beach. Yeah, being on the beach themselves. They were beating people with sticks in Australia. I don't know how them coppers in Australia haven't been hunted down and kneecapped by the people. They should have been. But again, Australia's in the same nick as us. They're completely, you know, cooked by the government, and they're too scared to stand up for themselves and their rights, you know. If another lockdown happened, it's funny to see what normies say. Just I'll tell you one thing, see if another lockdown happens, I hope that I'm on benefits while it happens, you know, so that, I don't have to go to the job centre, I don't have to work. I can just sit on my arse and play video games the whole time, and I'll stay off social media this time. I won't let it depress me like I did before, you know. I'll just make the most out of the lockdown and, have fun with it, you know. Shout out Lee Talks Boxing. Yeah, how's it going, pal? Good to see you, man. Yep, God bless you. Someone mentioned you earlier. They said they thought you'd retired from YouTube, but thankfully you're still here. It's good to see you, man. A lot of police officers would be criminals if they weren't cops, and you see someone with a god complex gogging to become a doctor. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, like, that's the thing. A lot of cops are criminals, and being a cop allows them to play the system a bit. And you know, like a lot of cops take bribes. A lot of them are involved in drug dealing. A lot of them are involved in like prostitution. A lot of them are involved in like protection rackets. Like there's all sorts of cops who are criminals, and they use their position of power to basically play the game, play the system. You know. Yeah, Australia bringing in digital ID. Yeah, yeah, without a doubt, we won't be long behind them. You know. The mad thing about Harold Shipman is he probably would have been caught if he hadn't tried to forge the will of his last victim. Yeah, he probably would have continued. He probably would have continued for years to come, you know? Maybe it was an act of God, you know? I haven't really had much time lately with personal circumstances. I've watched about 3 boxing matches in 3 months, yeah. That's probably more than I've watched, tell you that. Like, again, I'm in the same boat. I've had so much crap going on, like with work and with family and with injuries and stuff like that. You know, just I've had too much stuff going on to give a crap about YouTube and about making content, especially when, like, I don't know, man. It's like it just feels like a waste of time nowadays when you do, because you know, the types of content that gets rewarded and pushed on this platform is just crap, low effort crap. You know, that's true. Yes, the Messiah, Jesus Christ, is the only one who can save us. Women police officers are the worst. They love having some sort of power over men. Yeah, I can't think of another reason a woman would want to be a copper other than having power over men, you know. If they bring in assisted dying, there will be shipments everywhere getting away with it and playing God in the name of assisted dying. Yeah, yeah, it's just in a lot of cases it'd just be a fancy way of committing murder, isn't it? Or a fancy word for murder. Like assisted dying sounds like a joke, doesn't it? It's like unaliving someone. It's akin to that, isn't it? I think there's a serial killer in this country who hasn't been caught. Just look at how many suspicious drownings there've been in the last 10 years. Like, you reckon there's someone going about drowning people? I wonder who it is. Yeah, women in any position like that are unbearable. Yeah, that's why they belong in the kitchen. I understand that predictions are sometimes redundant. Any fight could be fixed. Making videos about corruption in boxing has an element of singing to the crowd about it. Yeah, exactly. Because the only people that are going to see the video and are going to take anything away from it are people that already know this stuff. Like you say, if I make a video talking about Canelo's fights being fake, anybody who's going to see the video and agree with it already knows that Canelo's fights are fake because they're already one of the more highly intelligent people of society, which are people that watch my channel, obviously. And but any normies that come across the video who are of you know of a lower intellect, they're going to basically be like, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a hater, you're this, that, and they're just going to start projecting their own, like, superficial way of looking at the sport and their own idiocy onto you. So you're not going to convince anybody. You're not going to get any information to anybody. You know, so like you say, you're preaching to the choir. It would be like if I was to put videos on Patreon and charge people for them. You know, that the only people that would see them are people who are willing to pay for it and already know it and already agree with it. It's the same with YouTube. You know, I'm not really. I'm past caring about trying to grow this channel because I don't particularly want to have to interact with normies and waste my time with them, because normies can't be educated. They don't have the intellect to be educated. I learned that a long time ago. So even making predictions and trying to expose the corruption, it's a complete and utter waste of time. There's no point. Yeah, water washes away any DNA evidence, so it's what do you call it? It's convenient to do it by drowning, isn't it? What's your thoughts on? Do you know I was gonna make a prediction video for that? Like, it's funny you should mention that. I was actually gonna make one, but I waited too late. But I'm actually, even though I favour Gilberto Ramirez to win because he's the better fighter, Chris Billum-Smith has proven me wrong on like 3 occasions now, and he's come back very, very strongly in recent years. So I'm not writing him off entirely. I think that I'd say I'm like 70-30 in favor of Ramirez to win that fight on points. But I would not be at all surprised if Billum-Smith landed a big shot, dropped him, hurt him, and was able to grind out a win, like a points win of his own. I wouldn't be surprised. So, like, I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm 50-50, but I'd say I'm 70-30 in Ramirez's favor for that fight to win on points, most likely. So yeah, that's how I see it. But very, very interesting because I rate Ramirez very highly, but I think that Chris Billum-Smith has the kind of will to win and the kind of work ethic that gives him a chance against anybody at cruiserweight. I really do think it, you know. So that's how I see it. Police are too lazy to properly investigate anything anymore. They rely far too much on DNA evidence. If there is none, they essentially give up. Yeah, because they don't actually do any actual work now, so they give up. What makes you think Nordic knows who Blackpink is? I don't know what that is. Never heard of it. Normies will never admit they were even wrong, even faced with concrete proof. Yeah, because if they're faced with concrete proof, they'll either deny it or they will just pretend they already knew. You know, they won't come to you and apologize for being wrong and admit that you are intellectually superior to them. They won't do that because they've got such big egos. You know, they're not humble like myself, you know, so they won't do it. You know, I can admit when I'm wrong, which is very rarely, but it happens on occasion, doesn't it? So I'll admit it. I think Ramirez will outbox Bill and Smith. Yeah, I think he will, but I think there's going to be moments in the fight where Bill and Smith catches him and makes him tuck up and mind his defense and that. And I think it's going to make the fight interesting. So I think Ramirez will win, but I think Bill and Smith will be in the fight as long as it lasts. But I do think Ramirez will win. I think Bill and Smith will give him a very tough fight, though. I really do. I really enjoyed that Catterall Regis fight. Jack fights to the level of his opponent. Be great depending on the opponent. I don't think Catterall can fight any other way. I think he's just a survivor and a spoiler. And I thought he lost the fight, and his fans agreed. Like, I don't know, were you here earlier? But I was talking about when I was in the crowd for that fight. Jack Catterall's fan base from Chorley thought he lost the fight, and they were saying he's running, he's not doing anything, he's losing, and he's blowing it essentially. You know, that was what they thought. And I agree with them. I thought he lost the fight. Normies will gladly drink grape juice, alcohol to cope with their misery. Yeah. Alcoholic grape juice, anyway, that destroys their liver when you have too much of it. But they can't get through a single weekend without it, you know. I'm one to talk, though, with my iron brew addiction, so I can't really criticise. Oh, yeah, that's a mismatch. Zepeda, Tevin Farmer is an absolute mismatch. I wouldn't put a penny on Tevin Farmer for that fight, you know. Normies are humble like Anthony Joshua. Yeah, stay humble, innit? Stay humble, innit? I remember watching one of those police shows where two female cops tried to search a guy who robbed a pack of Fred. The foulest of all crimes. Yeah, I suppose it's still theft, isn't it? Do you know, I did talk about it a bit early, but like Usyk versus Fury, I'm starting to favour Fury again. I know I've been saying that you got to favour Usyk logically, but the closer the rematch gets, the more I'm favouring Fury, just like I did in the first fight. So yeah, right now I'm thinking that Fury might win the rematch. It's just a gut feeling. That's all it is right now. I might talk about it in a video, but we'll see. Jack Catterall gives me the creeps. There's something sinister about that guy. Yeah, it's the eyes. There's something about his eyes. They're scary, you know? Scary to look at. Bill Smith is one of them dudes who wins fights he's not supposed to. Wouldn't be surprised if Chris can make it competitive. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Bill Smith. I've learned not to completely write him off. So I give him a chance. And the odds for the fight are pretty close too, surprisingly. Like, Ramirez is the favourite, and rightfully so, but the bookies seem to think that it's not a complete mismatch. And I happen to agree, you know, because Bill Smith has proven his worth now at cruiserweight. Like, he's beating guys that most people would have picked to beat him. And he's done so quite convincingly. So, yeah, I think he's improved a lot over the years. I think he can make it interesting. It destroys your liver, even in moderation. Yeah, I've not drank alcohol since last year. I think it was my mate's 30th birthday party last year. Was that was like November, so like nearly a year ago. Yeah, so nearly a year ago. In fact, it was a year ago in 2 days. It will have been. That was the last time I drank alcohol. So yeah, I'm not really that into it. Yeah, I thought so too, but apparently he's still fighting. And he's fighting that Zepeda. He's going to get battered. Tevin Farmer, I think, has no chance. I think he's going to get dominated in that fight. Easy win for Zepeda there, you know. Former's got no chance. Well, it should have to change the title. Be Tyson. Wait, you should have the title be Tyson Fury will absolutely dog walk Alexander Usyk to piss off. Do you know? I might actually do that. Just on the off chance that it happens, I might put Tyson Fury will absolutely dog walk Usyk in the rematch. Just that'll draw out all the normies, won't it? Who got like so triggered by the first video. They will be drawn back to the channel. I'm gonna come back and do this and blah. I'm gonna do this and blah 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 when Usyk wins again. Like just on the off chance that Fury manages to win the rematch, then I can like gloat and brag and say, see, this is what would have happened in the first fight if Fury had actually come to win or if he'd have trained and whatnot. And then I can give it the big one about how I'm such an intellectual genius and nobody will be able to prove me wrong. And I'll be able to like draw such a like insane reaction from all the normies and it'll be fun. I would start enjoying YouTube a bit again, you know, if I can do that. I'll go back to my old trolling ways. It'll be fun. What are your thoughts on the new Ray Fiennes film Conclave? I've never heard about it. I'm sorry, I've never heard about it. No idea. Got to go. Yeah, God bless you, Sven. It's good to see you here every time, man. God bless you. Only got here about 10 minutes ago. You went to the Catterall Regis fight. Yeah, I did. I went to the Catterall Prograis fight and I was limping because I had a torn Achilles tendon, so I couldn't even walk. And I was limping. And I went past Ricky Hatton right outside because he was outside the Man City Stadium. And I was with my mate who knows Ricky Hatton, like he's trained with him and whatnot. But I wanted to go over and like get a picture with Ricky Hatton and like wind him up and make a video for the channel. But I was in too much pain, so I couldn't do it, you know. But it was like it was like I went to the fight and I was sitting in the crowd and there was like I was surrounded by Catterall's fan base, like all his fans from Chorley, and like see by the second round they were all quiet. They were like he's not doing anything. He's not even trying. He's losing. And they were like quiet most of the fight. And they thought that he lost at the end, but he ended up getting the decision. And then they sprung to life then, like they started screaming and that. But yeah, it was quite funny. It made the event more funny than it would have been otherwise, you know. More than half of SA involve alcohol. People drink it and it tastes good. Yeah, that's another thing I've never got about alcohol. It doesn't taste nice. It tastes like piss. It tastes horrible, but people drink it. I think it's just peer pressure. People drink alcohol purely due to peer pressure. That's literally the only reason. Because it doesn't taste nice. It doesn't make you feel good. It makes you feel like crap. But like, it's just garbage, man. Like I've never understood the appeal of alcohol. I drink Iron Brew because I like it. It tastes good. It makes me feel good, as long as I don't have too much. But like in moderation. But with alcohol like damages your liver, makes you feel like crap, gives you a headache. You know, stops you being able to sleep, stops you from being able to really relax. Like, and it just doesn't do you any good. You feel like crap after you drink it, but like maybe you'll like have a good time because you're like tipsy and you know you make a fool of yourself. You kind of let your hair down, but that's not something you want to do on a regular basis. And again, I think it's peer pressure. I think people do it due to peer pressure. Like the only times I ever drink alcohol is like when it's a social thing. Like if I'm at the pub with friends, I'll have a pint or whatever. Like I don't like, or a couple of pints. Like I don't go out and get drunk or like drink on a regular basis. I don't do it. I don't see the point, you know. Definitely don't drink on my own. I mean, not saying I've never done it, but I don't make a habit of doing it, you know. Daniel Dubois. Normies be like, but Nordic, you predicted Fury to beat Usyk. Yeah, that's their. You know, it's funny because I had normies. It was like probably the same guy on multiple accounts. Every time I said anything, it was like, but you predicted that Llama would beat Tio, and they had to mention that every single video, every single comment section because most of the things I say are like too accurate to argue with. So they have to find something. They have to find something that like dampens my credibility. So they will latch on to one prediction. They're like, you predicted that Loma would beat Tio, and he didn't beat Tio, so you don't know shit about the boxing. You are so stupid. Like they have to latch on to that. But like with the Fury Usyk video, because I went so hard on like my normie bait with the title and everything and the thumbnail, and again, these people don't realize I've got them wrapped around my little finger because I'm so great at like manipulating trolls and manipulating normies and beating them at their own game that they don't understand when they're being like baited. Or when I could tell these people to their face that I'm like with this stream, I could tell people that this is a joke, but people that see it are still going to get triggered, like people that don't know me, or even some people that do. But like they've latched onto that because Usyk won, and ignoring the fact I was rooting for Usyk and I'm glad he won, even though I lost money on it. I'm glad he won. Like these people have to like latch onto that and use it to try to get under my skin or to try to upset me or to try to one up me, even if it's in their own mind. And it's actually fascinating from a psychological point of view that you could like live in people's heads rent free and get them so hyped up and get them so wound up and get them exposing themselves and projecting their own insecurities onto you. Like it's so funny how like you're able to do that just over the internet. It's fascinating, man. It really is. But I'm gonna have fun with it. Like, see with the Usyk Fury rematch. Like, if Fury wins the rematch, I'm gonna absolutely and again, people that know me and understand me will know what I'm playing at, and they'll probably just like let it be. But like the people that seethe about me and I'm living in their head rent free, like I'm gonna just troll the life out of them and have fun with them and get them to basically snitch on themselves and expose themselves as normal. Because why not? Why not have some fun with this? For the rematch, Fury will be using special Carl Froch branded gloves. It's going to be a different story. Yeah, he might even get like sports therapy, like Carl Froch did for his Groves rematch. Never drink it. Yeah, yeah. There's no point drinking. Again, I only drink when it's a social thing. I don't like alcohol. I don't like the way it tastes. I rather just have a iron brew, because at least that tastes nice and it gets me hyped up and that. So why not? We've got Christmas party season coming up. 4 or 5 obvious ways to get yourself sacked. Yeah, yeah. No, I tell you, if there's a Christmas party at my job now, I'm not going. I'm not like fraternizing with anybody at my work. To be perfectly honest, I don't like the people I work with right now. A lot of them are like just assholes and grasses, and yeah, I got no interest in fraternizing with any of them, so that won't be happening. My last job, I made a few too many enemies, and this job, it's not happening. I'm keeping myself to myself. I'm doing the bare minimum, getting paid, and it is what it is. I like the taste of a cold bottle of beer or cider, but the taste of vodka, whiskey, or wine is rancid. Yeah, I had whiskey a few years ago for the first time on my birthday. I couldn't stand it. Disgusting, horrible. And I don't even like beer either. Like I can deal with beer. Like I can have a Budweiser or a Guinness or something, and I can have it like to socialize, but I don't really enjoy it. I enjoy juice and water. That is what it is. I like a cup of tea. Just I'm not a big fan of alcohol. I never have been. Yeah, drinking can become an unhealthy crutch. Probably best keeping alcohol back for special occasions as opposed to regular use. Not had an alcoholic drink in 4 months. Yeah. Yeah, like I was saying, in 2 days it'll have been. No, saying that, that's not true. Actually, last time I went to Notting, like at the Jack Catterall fight, I forgot all about that. I had a pint at the Jack Catterall fight, and I had 2 pints of Guinness the next day. So yeah, it's been a cup. Been about 2 or 3 weeks since I last drank. I forgot all about that. But before that, it had been almost a year since I last drank alcohol. Almost a year. So yeah, I hardly ever drink, as you can tell. Yeah, normies are getting everything they deserve and will come for their deviant behavior. Yeah, more will come for their deviant behavior, of course. No sin goes unpunished. That's why we need a savior, Jesus Christ. Repent and trust in him that you shall be saved. That was possibly was the cleanest Mike Tyson since early 80s. Yeah. Yeah, probably. You never know. Yeah, how's it going, your old dad? Good to see you, man. God bless. I had a beer by the fire the night with my stepdad after a long shift from work. Yeah. Yeah, so some people have it to like wind down and chill out and all that, but I got my own ways of winding down, you know. And again, I only really drink to socialize, and that's very rare. I rarely socialize nowadays. I don't have many friends these days up here. Like most of my friends are down south, so I only really drink when I'm down there, you know. Dr. Pepper's better than alcohol. Not a big fan of Dr. Pepper. Like I can drink it, I don't mind it, but I'm not a big fan of it. I prefer just like Iron Brew, you know. Even like regular Coke, I prefer to Dr. Pepper. Sports psycho, psycholo, sports psychopath, George Groves, sports psychologist. Easy for you to say, Carl Fry. Yeah. I thought it was funny when Groves said Frotch doesn't need a sports psychologist. No, no, yeah, he needs a psychiatrist. That was what Groves said. That was so funny. That was so funny. That's relatable. Everyone at my college are either so normie or are just blatantly retarded. Mate, I think 99% of people are retarded and most of them are normies, you know? I used to like Coors, but that's a bit meh now. I've never had that. I don't think I have anyway. I don't mind a Budweiser though. That's all right. I don't mind that. Or a Guinness, you know? Yes, Nordic just started playing Fallout 4 and think it's better than Skyrim if you deal with the bugs. Do you know, I was never a big fan of Fallout 4. I'm actually going to do a video about it on its 10th anniversary, which I think is next year. It's a game I liked to an extent. There was things I liked about it, but there was also things I hated about it. Like I thought it was a conceptually interesting game, Fallout 4, but it was just so broken. Like there was so much about it that was broken. Whereas Skyrim is a game that has a lot of bugs, and it has a lot of like problems conceptually. But Skyrim was a game that I found so immersive, and I think it was a lot more user friendly than Fallout. You know, Skyrim had a better leveling up system, better RPG elements in general, and I just preferred it personally. I'll talk about that when I do my Fallout 4 video. But yeah, I always preferred Skyrim. But that's just my personal opinion, you know. At the moment, I'm favouring Fury, but I think it's just a gut feeling that might change as the fight gets closer. You know, Usyk by Ukrainian missile to counter Fury's tampered gloves. Yeah, imagine. Part that made me laugh was when Groves ignored Johnny Nelson and Carthage went, "Johnny, I just asked you a question. It's rude to ignore him." Yeah, that was kind of funny. Groves didn't even care. I drank one half at New Year and sometimes anniversary for me over alcohol. Yeah, yeah, I'm not much into alcohol either. It's very again. I had a pint at the Jack Catterall fight, and I had 2 pints of Guinness the day after because we went to see an old friend in the pub, and that was it for this year. Prior to that, I didn't drink at all this year, and the previous year it was my mate's 30th. We had a few drinks, and yeah, that's how rare it is that I drank alcohol. Very rare. Yeah, loads of people lost money betting on my yeah, exactly. A lot of people did, like, so many normies were brainwashed by the media and by the hype that Mike Tyson was actually gonna set about Jake Paul and knock him out, and that it wasn't just a complete work. You know, sports gambling is literally it's for normies. It's for fleecing normies for everything they're worth. Normies and their money are easily parted, you know? Seems like people refusing to drink alcohol is interesting. Hmm. Yeah, it is. Oh, increasing, I mean. Yeah, sorry, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people notice how, it just isn't worth it, what it does to your body, you know? Would you rather drink a gallon of, Iron Brew A gallon of Iron Brew. I'd love to do that. Whatever it is, like you're asking, would I rather drink a gallon of Iron Brew? I don't even care what the next part is. I'll take the gallon of Iron Brew because you didn't say diet. So I'll take the gallon of Iron Brew. No, watch Mike Tyson fight Holyfield right now. I'll take the gallon of Iron Brew. Absolutely. Had it be diet Iron Brew, I'd take the Tyson Holyfield fight. But if it's real Iron Brew, I'll take that. That's that's a bargain. That's a bargain for me, you know. Tyson's signal to go easy on him was by biting his glove. Yeah, it was always rigged. Of course it was. They weren't going to let Mike Tyson go in there and set about Jake Paul. And even if he did, he's too bloody old. It was never going to happen, you know. I swear, talking boxing with non-boxing fans is funny. I heard so many of the people in my work picking Mike Tyson to beat Jake Paul by KO in the first round because he's Mike Tyson. Again, I talked about that earlier. People were betting on Tyson, and they were like, "I don't care if he's old. It's Mike Tyson, and he's the baddest man on the planet. And Jake Paul isn't a real boxer." That was how they suckered people in to bet on Mike Tyson by knockout. That's how they suckered them in. And they got absolutely fleeced. Yeah, I know you meant diet. So I decided to take that one and capitalize on it because that's a bargain. I'll drink the gallon of diet. I'll drink the gallon of Iron Brew. Absolutely. What did do you think about Triple G Conover? You mean Triple G knocking out AJ? Yeah, AJ fought like a moron. He fought like an idiot. He forgot the fundamentals. He completely forgot how to use his jab, how to keep his hands up, and he just walked into Dubois' jab, and that set everything else up. He threw the same uppercut twice in a row and got himself knocked out. It was a stupid performance from AJ. Fought like a moron, you know. Tevin just knocks Zepeda out. Did he now? Well, now I seem like an idiot, don't I? Because I said that it was a mismatch. So Tevin Farmer, I guess, has just proven that I don't know shit about boxing, and maybe my critics are right. So I guess I should cut my wrists and delete my channel, I guess. I guess I don't know anything, do I? Oh well. Can't have everything in life, can you? Iron Brew's a quality product. Couple of 2 liters for Christmas. Yes, absolutely. A man after my own heart. I love it, man. Iron Brew's like amazing. It really is. It's like they don't understand age. Yeah, they don't understand that being 58 years old is 58 years old, whether you're a legendary boxer or not. You're still 58 years old, you know? Frank Warren planning to give Dubois an easy touch, like the AJ situation. They're making his mental flaws, or masking his mental flaws, milking it till it shows again. Yeah, but I think the scam, like the jig is up with Anthony Joshua. It's too. He's been beaten so many times now in such like devastating fashion that you're not going to be able to rebuild him and have a couple of like hilarious wall-in fights and trick people into thinking he's back. It's too obvious at this point that he's not, because people are going to know as soon as you put him in there with a puncher and a guy who's in there to win, he's going to panic again and he's going to forget the fundamentals. Knowledgeable boxing fans will be able to see that now, you know. Or am I giving them too much credit? Because then again, a lot of the hardcore boxing fans are normies, aren't they? And after all, they are normies. Glad I was too busy making videos. For making video. I was going to make a video called AJ will pummel Daniel Dubois. I don't know shit about boxing. Well, I did make a prediction video and I picked AJ. So again, I'm surprised I didn't get as much backlash for that one though. I didn't get as much backlash as I did from the normies, from the Usyk or the Loma one, you know. John L. Sullivan in his grave beats Usyk because he's John L. Sullivan. Yeah, it doesn't matter that he's been dead for like 100 years. He's still John L. Sullivan. Hopefully Turkey don't allow Frank to give Dubois easy fights. Nah, I don't want to see Dubois be manufactured like AJ was, you know. Is it me or has Anthony Joshua slowly turned into Audley Harrison as his career's gone on? I don't think he's quite as bad as Audley Harrison was, but I can definitely see the similarities. He's got some of the same like mental flaws and inconsistencies with his performances. Hatman predicted that no heavyweight would dominate in the post Klitschko golden age, and we are nearing the end of that golden age now. I actually think it's the opposite. Well, at the moment in time, Usyk's dominating, but can't see him doing it for 10 years, personally. AJ was never great. Yeah, he was never great. I agree. He was always overhyped. He had ability, but overhyped. Hopefully, Turkey makes Dubois fight Bacoli. I doubt that. I doubt it. Doubt they would accept that fight. Way too dangerous for little reward, but we'll see what happens. We'll see. I agree. We'll see shorter reigns and more upsets now. I think we will. And a lot of that's to do with the Saudis setting up a lot of these crazy cards that you'd never see like in previous years. Big stiff idiot, yeah, AJ. Who do you think Dubois fights next? Fabio Wardley. Do you know I could see that fight happening pretty soon. I think they might actually be building that fight up as well. And Fabio Wardley is a tough guy. He'll come to fight, but he's technically not that good, in my opinion. And I think Dubois will probably take him apart quite easily and stop him late. So yeah, I could see that fight happening because it's kind of a big fight, but it's a safe fight. Liking Froch is the most normy thing in British boxing. Seen him on Stephen Hendry's channel, and he only spoke about himself. Yeah. Do you know I got more information about Froch that I could put out here, but I kind of promised I wouldn't. But yeah, I know certain people connected to Froch. I've heard a lot of even more disturbing things about the guy, but I've already like revealed more than I should have about Froch. So I'm not really talking much about him now because I've kind of been told certain things in confidence. But yeah, Froch is a dirtbag, man. He's a complete degenerate. And I know of certain individuals who absolutely loved Froch, who absolutely despise him now. Yeah, I'm not going to say much else. Hatman's hatred for all things Klitschko was a pathology. Quite funny if you don't think too deeply about it. Yeah, it was funny. Like Hatman's hatred of the Klitschkos, it was like a mental breakdown. And like when Klitschko finally retired, it was like Hatman can sleep at night. Like he can move on with his life and be just a regular functioning member of society now instead of seething all the time about Klitschko. That's what it was like. Jake versus Bellew. Bellew takes a dive, probably. And he does it for more fame and attention and money. Yeah, Froch is an attention seeker. He's desperate. And Froch is like absolutely jealous of anybody else who gets mainstream media coverage in the UK. Like, remember, he used to be jealous of guys like Amir Khan and others for getting talked about by the British media, jealous of Calzaghe. Like he just couldn't stand anyone else in British boxing getting talked about aside from him. I can't believe what I'm seeing. I'm watching Tevin Farmer having success on the inside against Zapata. He's probably winning, yeah. Well, it turns out I don't know shit about boxing, and Tevin Farmer is the like true pound for pound king of boxing. He's like the ultimate technician, the ultimate road warrior. And he got more skill and he more athletic. And yeah, shout out to Tevin Farmer. Tevin Farmer TBE. That'll be so funny if he wins, won't it? Tevin Farmer TBE. You've answered this before, but how would you think a win between Klitschko versus Usyk? I still favour Klitschko. Although Usyk could outbox him, he's technically better. Klitschko had enough technical skill from long range, enough lead hand control, great jab, great power, as well as the physical strength to manhandle him on the inside, which I think would offset the skill advantage of Usyk. So I would favour Klitschko on points, but I think Usyk will give him one of his like toughest fights. Hat was live yesterday for the Tyson fight. I bet he was. I bet he was, because he wants the attention, you know? Anthony Bellew will make it home to his wife and kids, watching the superstar Jake Paul shine, and you'll never hear of Bellew again, Cougs. You'll never hear me again, Cougs, or you'll never see me again. Yeah, Froch made a name of slating Tommy John Fury. Yeah, Froch was actually like trying to start beef with John Fury just to get attention. He literally was. He even puts his wife in videos when she knows nothing about boxing. Yeah, his wife's just a hooker, just a sleazy hooker. That's all she is. I can't believe Stephen Hendry went from Steve Davis. I don't even know who Stephen Hendry is. Who even is he? Steve went from Steve Davis and Tony Drago, both top blokes, to Froch. Why? What is he like? Some interview channel or something? And he interviewed Froch. I don't even know who he is. Tevin Farmer proved his pound for pound credentials when he beat the great James Tennyson. Tyann Booth said some tenant of Froch's properties complained about a broken windows, and Froch, with his millions, he refused. Well, do you know what? I didn't know Tyann Booth said that. I didn't know that. I promise you, I've never heard that before from Tyann Booth. But I've heard similar stories behind the scenes from people I know about Carl Froch, and it involves properties and money and that sort of intimidation. Like, yeah, I've heard stuff like that. Put it that way. So that would not surprise me one bit. I've heard things. Put it that way. I've heard things similar to that. You know, Tevin Farmer proved his pound for pound credentials when he beat the great James Tennyson. Yeah, James Tennyson had quite a bit of hype as well, didn't he? Before then, from what I can remember. Yeah, Froch could still be hitting Matthew Barney now and not put a dent in him. That was with old gloves, mind. Yeah, that was with his old, like, actual boxing gloves and not like bricks in his hands or something, you know? Impression of coked up Froch telling Lionel Messi he fought at Wembley. Yeah. Well, I knocked out George Groves in front of 20,000 at Wembley. And the people are just looking at him like, who's this guy? Who is he? You know? The funniest meme I saw was it was Chuck Norris, and it said, "I knocked out 80,000 people in front of George Groves." That was one of the funniest memes I've ever seen. That was great. I'd ride her cheeks, yuck. Johnny Nelson will face KSI in a star jumping match. I don't think Johnny Nelson can even get up the stairs without his hip giving out. Never mind do star jumps. Yeah, you'll never see me again, Cougs. Oh. Stephen Hendry's a former 7-time snooker champ. He has a channel where he plays a game of snooker against an interview subject. I've never heard of him. Then again, I don't watch snooker. I don't follow it, so I have no idea. Tyann roasts him even more. Can't stand Tyann because he said Rachel would not be with him if he was a pin man. Oh, but it's true though, isn't it? That's 100% true. I'm sure he knows it, you know. What's your take on Ben Whittaker? I never watched him fight ever. And I'll never watch Ben Whittaker fight unless he loses. If he loses, then I'll watch him. But aside from that, never gonna watch him. Not interested. So yeah, that should answer that question. Because I'm not wasting my time with another like Nas wannabe hype job. So no, never gonna do that. I recently rewatched the Chris Eubank Carl Thompson fights. First fight still a classic. That was a great fight. Great fight. Yeah, Eubank had some pretty good fights. Carl Thompson, all his fights were really entertaining. That guy was hard. Like, he was seriously tough, you know. Back in the day when Tyann was funny, him roasting Froch was so bad. He wanted to know Tyann's address. Yeah, yeah. Froch is a right degenerate. He really is a degenerate. You know. I know for a fact lots of people that loved him don't like him anymore. You know, is what it is. And I was proven right about him, his character. You know, impression of Tony Bellew coming home to his wife, tucked up in bed next to Sonny Edwards. I'm gonna smash you from pillar to post. I don't know, something like that. Can you imagine his wife in bed with Sonny Edwards? He's like, if she went on top, Sonny would end up like crushed or something, end up breaking his skull, you know? You do get the feeling that if he hadn't been a pro boxer, Froch would have gone into the crime world, been a thug for hire. Oh, without a doubt. He'd have probably been like a loan shark or a bailiff or something. That's what he probably would have been. Thompson versus Sebastian Rothman was an epic. Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Also, his fight with David Haye was a great one, too, if you've ever seen that. You like when Naz lost to. Oh, I like that fight. Yeah, I like watching Barrera school him, you know. Yeah, he lost to Barrera. Got schooled. Some guy was wondering why Eubank went up 2 divisions and simply explained that Roy Jones and Mikucheski were at 175. Yeah. Yeah, Eubank wouldn't have had a chance against either one of them. Yeah, no chance. Oh, yeah. Carl Thompson stopped David Haye. Like, he was losing early on, but then Haye ran out of gas. Thompson just put a beating on him and forced him and broken him down, yeah, and stopped him. Yeah, Naz was overrated. He was a good fighter, but overrated. Michael Brody versus Injun Chi. Do you know, I haven't watched that fight, but I've heard what a classic it was. Apparently, that was a great fight, Brody versus Injun Chi. I think that fight was at featherweight. Yeah, great fight. Shakur boxing. I don't think he's boxing tonight, no. Oh, boring. Sorry. Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Very boring. I wouldn't waste my time watching him either. Yeah, Eubank Collins 1 was a good fight too. I like that fight. Great fight. Yeah, Brody was a good fighter. Like he was incredibly tough and he worked really hard in the ring, but he also had decent skills. He was very good on the inside, very like rugged fighter who knew how to fight like inside and shorten his punches. He was a very good pressure fighter, I would say. Would you rather fight Naz or well, Naz would be way too small for me. That would be a mismatch. I'd just crush him. I'd crush him like a Tesco grape. But so that would be too easy. But Khan, he's taller than me, longer than me, so I could knock him out without feeling guilty about it. Put it that way. So yeah, I'd rather fight Khan. Be more of a challenge too because of the size and the speed and whatnot. Yeah, that was a great fight too. Gomez, Alex Arthur. Arthur got brutally knocked out in that one and all. Yeah. There's an interview of Eubank on Channel 5 with Dominic Diamond where he comes back. It's on here, was quite controversial. Said he should have killed Steve Collins. Yeah, well, he didn't, did he? He got his ass kicked, you know. Oh, yeah, Naz would be too big now. Naz is a heavyweight now. He's probably heavier than me now. Yeah, how's it going, JD? God bless you, man. Yes, unfortunately, you got this one very late. I'm going to be ending this soon because I'm getting quite tired, you know. But yeah, it's good to see you here, man. My favorite AJ fight, probably the best one was probably the Klitschko fight. I think that was definitely AJ's most entertaining fight, without a doubt, you know. Have it, Nassim. I love it when you see a really great domestic fight like Cheeseman Eggington during lockdown. Yeah, that was a brutal fight. Great fight though. Would you rather accept a lift off Naz or Amir Khan? Amir Khan, because then I could hear him say, "I want my title back." Tyler Crawford's a great fighter, but I want my title back. He only won because of a low blow. Like, I could hear him like complain. That'd be fun, you know. Yeah. Do you remember that? I was like, who do you think's buying all the dildos? It's not just Chris Mannix. It's mostly women, you know. That was quite a funny one. Remember which KO you watched back once the most? Well, definitely Usyk versus Bellew. Povetkin versus White. What else is there? Klitschko versus Chambers. I like that knockout. That was quite clinical. What else was there? Satisfying to me. Let me think. Do you know, I liked watching Liam Smith knock out Chris Eubank Jr. That was quite fun. Yeah. Khan versus what's his name? Danny Garcia. I like watching that one. There's quite a few of them, you know. A lot of knockouts I like watching. Eubank was referring to when he briefly decked Collins in round 10 and didn't follow up. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was too little too late. He didn't really have the energy to follow up then. Ashley Sexton versus Uzi Ahmed. Yeah, that's a satisfying one to watch too, you know. Oh yeah, yeah, they've both been in brutal car accidents, haven't they? Naz's was a lot worse than Khan's though, from what I remember. So yeah, I'd still go with Khan. Oh yeah, Khan Prescott. Like any fight where Khan gets knocked out is like is satisfying to watch. Like literally any one of them, you know. Oh man. But yeah, on that note, I'm gonna wrap this one up because I'm getting quite tired and figure out how to spend the rest of my Saturday evening. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll try and get a video out for this channel just for the sake of keeping it active. I might try and get a video out for this channel probably towards the end of this week or next week, should I say. So yeah, thanks, guys. God bless each and every one of you, and stay vigilant. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. God bless.